As we come to the conclusion of the Zou arc, we want to highlight some important elephant charities. So you could go to our website, and in the description to this episode, there are many you could choose from. SaveTheElephants.org is one that does some great work, so please check them out. And with that, enjoy the show. This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 414 for the week of Monday, April 11th, 2016. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And today we're not Steve-less because we have one Steve with us, and that is Steven, our very special guest and translator for One Piece in Weekly Shonen Jump. How's it going, Steven?
Pretty good. I'm glad to be back. That was well played there, Zach. Yeah, it's been a few weeks. I was just like, oh my god, I'm going to be on the podcast today? Like, what is that like again? I forgot.
You'll jump, it'll be like riding a bike with puns. That's really all I got there. We also have the animation director from Rick and Morty with us, Bryan Newton's joining us again. Hey, Bryan.
Hey guys, felt like it's been a while, but thanks for having me back.
Yeah, I think it's been a little bit for you as well. So, Stephen and Bryan joining us again. Also, it's been a while since we've had our next guest on. He is a writer for ANN. He writes the One Piece anime reviews for them, and is also an editorial writer for us. And the new host of our Anime Recap segment, we have Sam with us. Hey, Sam.
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
Hooray for new responsibilities.
Yeah, the other new responsibility, reviewing JoJo Part 4 for ANN.
Oh, I heard about
My Hero
that.
and My Hero Academia. So
Just the shonen guy.
yeah, pretty much.
My Hero Macadamia.
Yeah.
Hey, don't get cocky now.
He gets all the good shows, and they give everyone else the other shows. We also have the dude with us. How's it going, dude?
Oh, it's going quite good, Zach. How are you?
It's going quite well with me as well, dude.
Yes, NPR voice. Yes, yes.
Yes. Finally, we have been picked up by NPR, and we are required to talk in this voice. No, we
That's
have
right.
not.
We don't get paid for it, but we love it all the same.
That is accurate.
We need to start an ASMR podcast.
I don't know what that is.
Me either. But I bet it's something tasty.
I don't know. It sounds like the disease that kid had on in Lord of the Flies. Is asthma?
Asperger's?
I am so lost, and it's not just because I'm suddenly talking in this voice. On today's show, we have a manga recap. We have an anime recap. Do you have the episode number for that one?
For the anime?
Oh, yes. Now Sam's job.
The anime episode is 736.
Cool. And the manga, what voice am I speaking in? Is chapter 822. Excited to go into that as well. I want to point people to our website, onepiecepodcast.com. Lots of cool news and editorials coming this week. And last week, Jammer posted his, I guess, like a kind of spin-off editorial off of the One Piece connection. It's Don't Know Much About Poneglyphs. That's the name of it. If you don't know much about it, it's a great resource to find out more and see how things are connected there. So definitely give that one a read. There's also been a decent amount of news this week. We have the episode titles for episodes 737 through 740 out, including some filler that's coming up in the anime, actually. So that's it's kind of exciting in a way because we don't really get that very much anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure Jill is super excited.
Yeah, because she likes filler.
Yes, that was what I was implying. Zach.
Okay, I just got it there. We also have Kelly, who posted a look at some of the latest One Piece styling figures for Film Gold. Please check that out as well. And one of my favorite pieces of I guess you could call it news, is another awesome trailer for One Piece Burning Blood, using real life actors. You should check it out. It's on our website. It involves an old man and a kid fighting. That's all you need to know.
Super
Like the
funny.
beginning of Dragon Ball Evolution.
Hey.
I could say I've only seen various clips of that movie. And
I've watched that movie twice.
I saw that movie in theaters.
Why?
This is sad. This is just sad.
See, I did it for free.
I
It was
think
hysterical.
I think the only time I saw any piece of it was on like one of those really far off cable channels, and then I'm like, nope.
I did both. I saw it for free and in theaters.
Oh, Bryan, that's just as bad.
I saw it like the first showing of the first day because I just had to do it for the sake of being a Dragon Ball Z fan.
So,
Actually, I'll take that back. I paid for another movie and then just saw that.
okay, that's better. It's better.
Probably
Why,
what I should have done, but
why don't we get into some anime recap? Sam, are you ready?
I am.
Okay. He sounds like he's ready, guys. Let's
Yeah.
find out.
This is the anime recap for episode 736, Sending a Shockwave, The Worst Generation Goes into Action. And the title card begins at 5:38. Now, since this is my first time hosting the anime recap, I figured it might be interesting to maybe look over some of the staff credits on these episodes at the beginning of each segment. So the screenplay of this episode is Shoji Yonemura. Almost screwed that up.
I'm glad I'm not doing this part.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Shoji Yonemura. There we go. Episode director is Tetsuya Endo. He's also the storyboard director, artist, whatever. And then the animation director is Shigefumi Shingaki, who I believe you guys interviewed for OPP Japan, right?
Yes, we did.
He's in the movie.
He is in the movie, yeah. Check
Yeah.
that out, oppjapan.com. Why not?
Do either of you guys know what the difference in responsibility between an episode director and an animation director is? I've never been
We
sure about that.
might discuss that in the movie. I don't remember, though. That was 2 years ago for me. I don't know.
Someone can tweet it at me.
Yes,
So.
that's a good idea.
Right. So the episode opens with Fujitora and the Marines continuing to bow. Riku is shocked, but then eventually sort of puts two and two together and asks, is this why you didn't touch Doflamingo? And Fujitora confirms that, yeah, the world needs to know the truth. And they even got like a Marine holding a little visual transponder snail just to broadcast the whole thing to the world. Then we get the Straw Hats reuniting, looking for Luffy. I think it's all the Straw Hats here on Dressrosa, plus the Samurai, plus Bartolomeo and Cavendish. So
Plus the bird, the poor bird.
Yeah.
But I really like this scene. It was like very necessary after everything we've been through.
Was this filler? Because I don't
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Same with Luffy and Rebecca and Viola and Law hanging out on the roof, like right next door. Remember, there was a shot where Usopp was flexing and his bicep is like weirdly big.
He worked out. He worked out.
Yeah. Then elsewhere, we've got Kiro saluting the Tontadas, and he looks really silly being the only human-sized person in like a sea of Tontada little people.
He's very tall.
Yeah, he's a tall guy, and the Tontadas are very, very small. And it's really cute, actually, like seeing them, salute and respect each other like that. And he announces that the Lil Riku army is disbanded, which reminds me a lot of the Usopp Pirates way back in East Blue.
A very emotional scene.
I didn't even make that connection, but very accurate. Yeah, I didn't even put two and two together there with.
It does. And especially since that group, they kind of worship Nolan, don't they? Nolan the liar.
Yes.
So I don't know. There are connections there. I don't know what the.
You might be putting a little
is.
too much there.
Yeah.
But
there are connections there, and it's just a little cute thing.
so what's next?
So then we cut to Marijois. I like saying that a lot. Marijois, where Akainu is kind of bitching out his superior officers, the five Elder Stars.
Very few people have the guts to do that.
We did have a brief scene where King Riku tells Tank to go get all the people who don't have shelter and put them in the palace. I remember from the manga. It's sort of a character building for King Riku. He's sort of
it's implied filler. That's all it is, Ed. You're putting.
But no, that was actually in the manga though.
Oh, was it? He said, "Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Never mind. It was implied canon."
All can't. Okay.
All right, so we're in Marijois, and Akinu is wearing a white suit over his red Hawaiian shirt, which was really shocking to me. I think in the manga it's still just colored black in the black and white manga. But yeah, he looked kind of weird. I was like he doesn't look like he belongs in white. Like he's not pure enough.
Looks a lot more like Garp than usual.
Yeah, I mean he is the leader of the Marines, so he has to rep their colors, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He's mad that the 5 other stars let Cypher Pole cover Doflamingo, and that seems like something that he had nothing to do with. He's kind of just as confused as everyone else about why the government wouldn't let Doflamingo basically do whatever he wants. And then they also let loose the sort of info bomb that Kuzan is now siding with Blackbeard.
Well, I love that they do it in a way of like, well, hey, don't bitch at us because you let this happen. Come on, man.
Right. And
yeah, you can't tell us to do our job if you're not doing yours.
Yeah.
I kind of just retorts that idiot resigned from the Navy. What he does is none of our concern.
Okay, let's just avoid how ridiculous a statement that is.
Right. And then a random Marine runs in and announces that the Don Quixote family.
What did we call this guy again in the manga? We had a name.
Lovely mustache.
He was he Vice Admiral Mustache? Is that what we called him?
We already had the Mustache Squadron.
Or something spaghetti. We gave him an Italian accent, I think.
Wasn't Mustache Squadron from like season 1 of the podcast?
Yeah, I mean that was back in 2009. That's a whole different mustache.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this Marine announces that Luffy and Law's alliance has beaten Doflamingo, and the 5 Elder Stars just kind of have this really relaxed, like, that kid again reaction. Like they're just used to it at this point. Akinu's a little angry about it, but the Elder Stars are just kind of rolling with it at this point. And then we get a cutaway to Suru's ship, and we can hear her talking with Sengoku, and Sengoku offers her some rice crackers in his new relaxed old age retirement.
We also have the montage of all the countries that relied on Doflamingo's weapons.
Right, yeah.
That's an interesting scene because it shows so much more of the world, like random places that we don't ever get to see. Probably never will see again.
I was always under the impression that a lot of those islands were pretty close to Dressrosa. Like he was shipping a lot of weapons to neighboring islands. So I always thought there was like all these local politics that we never really got much deeper into.
Yeah.
And then does anyone remember what the
no,
the crackers thing? Because the crackers thing with Sengoku, like that's sort of a callback to. It's sort of a callback to his nicknames with
Corazon.
Yeah.
I think that was on purpose.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I think eating the crackers came first because he always ate crackers.
Well, Garp liked the crackers, I think.
That's right.
Right, yeah. So then that brings us to a montage of basically the entire world reacting to the news. This is sort of the new, I guess, the Ennies lobby of the new world for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cypher Pole's there, so sure.
Yeah. And we move on to basically the worst generation, cutting to each one of them, and we get Bonnie reading the newspaper and using her age powers to steal some pizza, which shouldn't really work because her kid form and her old lady form are about the same height, and her cloak covers most of her anyway. So I figured that shopkeeper should have gotten a little wiser to what was up.
Something nerdy here. I think they used the same exact music as their original introduction and Shabari for their reintroduction here. So that's kind of cool.
Here's something that's even nerdier. What kind of pizza place has pizza on a shelf inside of a glass case in the front of the store?
7-Eleven.
Individual slices. This looks terrible. Okay.
No, I think they have that in New York in places.
Well, you usually see like a pie and pieces are taken out of the pie.
You know what? No. Sometimes you have individual slices, but I'm going to have to go back to the scene and ensure that it is authentic for this One Piece world place. By the way, people ask me, what island, Zach, would you like to go to? I think I found my choice.
Well, as a person who allows himself to buy individual slices of shitty 7-Eleven pizza on a regular basis,
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Go for the taquitos.
I don't care.
You were with us when we had very good chicken sausage deep dish,
Yeah,
right?
I just watched you eat it.
That's even sadder. This is just sad. This is very depressing, Sam. I'm
not gonna beat myself up over it.
I'm gonna cry for you in the corner. All these pizza related incidents. What happened next?
Well, we get Eruge relaxing on some miscellaneous sky island, and he's just sort of chilling out. But then a mysterious silhouette approaches, and this guy.
I don't know if you could call it a silhouette. Even I think.
I love this. I love this scene. They make him sound so heavy.
Right.
They
I wonder who this could be.
Without saying who it could be. Without saying who it could be, they made it way more obvious in the anime.
In the manga, we had a hard time even telling what was going on because we didn't see any interactions between people. We just saw, is someone there?
And I think it was a blob whenever we do see what was happening. Anyway, go ahead, yeah.
And then we moved to Capone and Big Mom's little scene, which was another scene I remember people debated a lot about when it first debuted in the manga. Everyone was sort of confused if that meant he was on Big Mom's side or if he just showed up at the same time. And he mentioned something about...
hadn't seen the Twirly Brow Pirates escape.
Right. And so...
whatever.
We know that they're after somebody. Wait, did they say they were after the Straw Hats and so on in this episode?
Who?
Capone.
No. Oh, they just said Caesar.
Oh, yeah, right. They're looking for Caesar, who we know are with Sanji.
The twirly hats,
yeah. Yeah, twirly hats. But then there's also that shot of like Big Mom's flag, which really confused us at the time in the manga, but it's kind of cleared up now.
Well, what this episode does is it takes all the things we were like, did this happen? Did this happen? Is this with this? And it said yes. And
it makes it a little bit more clear because we don't need
it shows us all those
quite
things.
as much as we did back
No. Anime fans get their answers right away. There's none of that guesswork. It's right. You know.
And then we move on to the hideout of the Kid, Apu, and Hawkins alliance, and they're reacting to the news of Luffy and Law, and it's more or less what you expect. But the big piece of information we get here is that their Four Emperors target this whole time has been Shanks, which is pretty interesting.
And a killer eats noodles in a way that is physically impossible.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the highlight of that scene.
Right, and then we move on to Drake, who's in just some snowy area. He's hearing the news, and his subordinates are asking him about his dad, like if he's mad at Doflamingo about killing his dad.
I really liked how they did this scene.
Yeah, and Drake's just like, I don't care. It was a long time ago.
Also, my dad was kind of a dick.
Yeah, a little bit.
You're so cold. Oh God.
Well, it's fucking snowing outside.
Oh no! I meant emotionally, Ed.
The weather represents my soul.
I didn't know that came with the T-Rex power, but it's kind of cool, I guess.
Man, I love how they make the ominous thing in the background. See, they give it it makes it seem more real.
We assume it's a castle. Is that our assumption? I think.
Yeah, something with horns. We hear Kaido's men wondering where he went. Where could he have gone? I don't know. Who knows? And then we get some Smoker and Tashigi just hanging out in the Navy ship. Smoker's bandaged up. Tashigi's just sort of giving him a visit, talking about Fujitora's move about bowing and letting the Marines take responsibility for what happened among pirates. And Smoker mentions that even if I had the same status as Fujitora, I don't think I could have done something like that. And he seems very impressed by his commanding officer.
We have the screaming scene between Fujitora and Akainu. It's crazy. It's exactly like what it was described as when Steven first told us about it.
Yeah. So you got
incomprehensible old people yelling. Yes. Yeah. I think Greg described that as that.
I really like the sort of continued parallels to like Alabasta, where Fujitora says he doesn't want to be a hero of lies, which is what Smoker was kind of forced into being way back then. So this is in the way that Dressrosa is, a parallel to Alabasta. It's also a sign that the world is changing and things are being able to be done a different way. regarding the seven warlords and the government's relationship with pirates and whatnot.
I wonder if this is reanimated Alabasta stuff they showed.
It looked like it. It didn't. It definitely wasn't from the movie, and I haven't seen this stuff reanimated before. And then that's sort of the end of the episode. The most interesting part of the episode is in the next episode preview, where it looks like we're going to be getting some filler for the first time in a long time.
A little, I think, very implied filler would be the way to put it. And
but it's filler that I actually really, really want to see. Like if they do it right, which is not guaranteed by any.
I'm just scared they're going to make up a bunch of stuff that never happened, and it's going to contradict stuff that really.
I think they're do that.
Yeah, I think they're well aware of that danger at this point. I think. Yeah.
But the next episode looks beautiful from what I could tell. So I'm excited on that front. Yeah.
And so I guess that sort of leads us to any particular thoughts on this episode?
Pleasant 20 minutes.
I love the material. I think the animation was weak at times.
It was very it held up. Like it was never bad. It was never good. It was just it worked fine.
Yeah, it was a low action episode.
Yeah, it's a low action episode. The content, it's a type of episode where the content is more than enough.
I agree. It was great content too. I can't think of anything else I'd like to add. It was a good episode. Yeah. It was a welcome reprieve, certainly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and now we're getting into the post arc stuff where it's just all information, all getting ready for the next arc, and
a little filler in between.
Yeah, so that's actually going to be really exciting to talk about. Like, I feel like this is a good time to take over the anime recap, because I feel like there's going to be something a little unusual each week, as opposed to maybe towards the end of the Dressrosa fighting.
Exactly. All right, why don't we move to the next segment then? You guys ready?
Yep.
Which way?
Sure thing.
This is the manga recap for chapter 822, Descending the Elephant. We're coming to a conclusion here, Ed. And before we get to that, what is going on the front page here?
Well, the long-arm former managers of Brook are angry. because Brook has no one from his past left. We have to have people from his present in the decks of the world.
And in true Kylo Ren fashion, they just start ripping and breaking shit.
Yeah, they're playing that. Remember that table flipping game we played at MagFest?
Oh my god, amazing!
It's kind of like that.
Yes,
but they're raging.
They are certainly that.
On Twitter, I suggested that these angry managers needed anger management.
Yeah. After Sam pointed that out, I was like, man, I really should have called this angry management instead.
I think it might be different in Japan, but isn't it usually like the artists and the rock and roll guys trashing the hotel room, not the managers?
No. In Japan, it's the managers, the buttoned up salarymen. Yeah. All
right, that's fair.
Yeah. No, I know that. I know Japanese culture well, guys.
You went to Japan.
I was there for 2 weeks. I was immersed in the One Piece culture. Anything else you guys want to point out on this cover? There's actually, strikingly little here, as far as I could tell.
The title pretty much sums it up.
I mean, sometimes there's stuff to be had, and there's nothing to be had here. So, Ed.
Well, I'll posit something for later. You think they'll be happy once Brook gets a higher bounty, or his infamy makes him famous and wealthy?
Maybe they'll be happy when he dies.
He's already dead.
He's already dead.
Oh no! Yo!
Okay, let's please get on with this chapter, Ed.
All right, well, we start with Chopper wiping the sweat off his brow. He's all finished with the job. And the doctor, who remembers what this doctor's name is?
Dr. Miyagi.
Dr. Miyagi.
Come on, Ed. Dr. Miyagi. Get it straight. Get it straight.
I'm not jammer levels here, but close.
If you can't get Dr. Miyagi, you might as well be Jammer, is what you're saying.
So he's admiring a mix of medical knowledge of Cherry Blossom Kingdom and the herbology of the Birdie Kingdom. It's amazing. He's completely stopped at the bleeding of Zunisha, but Chopper is being all shy about it. He's it's only because the forest had the perfect plants, idiot. Everyone complimenting him on his work, and he's just, Chopper is still the youngest of the crew. He still acts this way. I do kind of love that about him.
Like, some people just can't take a compliment.
Yeah,
and Chopper's one of them.
Mm-hmm. And so Miyagi tells Chopper that don't worry about replacing the bandage or fixing the bandages. We'll be responsible for that. You have other things to do. There's a wolf mink who's like, yeah, we got it. He's very excited about changing bandages.
Now, Ed, this is the biggest example yet of your theory you've had since episode 1 of this podcast.
Yeah.
And that is bandages heal everything.
Heal everything.
Everything.
Even giant
bandages on a giant elephant. I mean,
where did they get the materials for this?
This makes no sense.
So do you think Chopper's eventual, like, I want to heal all diseases, he'll just develop a bandage large enough to engulf the world?
Bryan, he'll be like, it was in front of me all along. The cure for all diseases.
The One Piece.
It's the bandages. Bandages. That was all I needed this whole time. I've been doing it.
A bandage.
If only I knew that when Dr. Hero... Oh, no. Oh, it got sad. What's next?
So Miyagi continues that Zunesha has been their homeland for 1,000 years, and it's provided comfortable safety. And we've forgotten something important. We were confronted with this fact earlier today, and we have to, come to grips with something that all life must eventually come to an end. Even though they've always been supported by the elephant, if it does have a will, I wish to ask it a question. What, you've been walking for 1,000 years. What are you walking toward? And we get the distant view, or sort of almost like, I guess it is kind of a close-up view of Zunesha's eye, his sunken eye again.
I love all the long shots of Zunesha.
Mm-hmm.
The one on the right side of this page included. Really cool.
Yeah, very cool. We go to the next page in the ruined Corral City, where all the crowd is gathered, and they're discussing plans now. Momonosuke is announcing that he is going to remain on Zou. And Kinemon asks, why would you do that? And Momonosuke, he doesn't really know what he should do. He's just a kid. But he wants to find out if it's possible to have a conversation with this massive being that has been alive for an entire millennium. He wants to know, why was he able to speak to it? Does it know something about his clan? And Kinemon is, oh, okay, yes, I see, but there's also people waiting for us in Wano. So how are we gonna to fix that?
It's Steven, is that BB on his left shoulder giving that? I don't know why that face is so amusing to me. He's just like, yes.
On the first page,
you're right next to Kinemon there.
I don't know. He's in the chapter later.
No, it's not Blackback, because Blackback has a little afro
and a mustache.
Yeah, he looks like a carpenter gorilla or something.
Yeah, sorry to get you off track there. It's just that was just like sticking out of me. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is a funny face. But Dogstorm is reassuring him. He says, "No, listen. We need to take steps here to ensure that Zou is safe from Kaido's threat. I mean, it was just, its life was put in peril by Jack, obviously. So, they have to be concerned with that kind of stuff. The point is that they can't all just leave and just rush into Wano. So he will stay here, and he'll keep Momonosuke safe, and he can bring him later once they've, once events have proceeded a little further. And then, much to everyone's relief, Kinemon breaks this down for us. We're going to have 4 different parties. And
he uses his Psychons to show it. Yeah.
Yep. He drew them so fast. I don't know, Sai. You got some competition.
Yeah, Sai's got some real competition here. Let's ask Kinemon for more.
Mm-hmm. Oh, just don't ask Kanjuro.
God. Oh, those would be fun, though.
Yeah, they would. So we've got
should be the next drawing project that someone does is everyone in Conjuro style.
Oh man,
that's horrifying.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So going to Wano, we have Kinemon's team. This will include Zoro and Law. Going on the kind of undefined search for Marco, however that might take place, will be Cat Viper and his forces. Staying on Zou will be the Duke and Momonosuke, and we see a little icon of Shishilian, his musketeers. And then going to Whole Cake Island is Luffy with his escort in Peckham's. So that kind of lays out, where these groups are going to be. Whether or not we see them all doing this stuff simultaneously, as I guess another matter. But that's, who knows? Only Oda knows how he's going to tackle all this stuff at this point. But Kinemon points out an issue here, which is that how are you going to communicate? He's familiar with these strange mollusks that all the foreign lands have. Of course, referring to the transponder snails. But Dogstorm points out, yeah, we don't really do that here. And Robin was like, really? Because, I saw some of them in the forest, some wild ones. And Frankie's like, oh, yeah, I can just whip you up some real quick. It's apparently that easy.
I love that detail.
That panel, like, that was a really fun. I don't know if fun is the right word, but it was a cool panel to hear. Oh yeah, Frankie could just whip you up a couple.
He could just make transponder snails, or
yeah,
or at least he can make the device for them.
Make one for me.
Do you think he learned that on Baltimore, or is that something he's always known?
That might be something he's always known.
I mean, it's a pretty ubiquitous technology elsewhere in the world.
Yeah. I love just any sort of little detail of like Frankie's really quick carpentry skills, like that bridge on Thriller Bark is still amazing.
Yeah. I think he learned it on the island of plot convenience.
And I really, Stephen, I have to say the line with the mollusks, just maybe it's that word.
Mollusk.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Brian.
It's a good word.
It's a great word.
Yeah. So we go outside the Whale Forest where the Guardians dwell. Luffy is in shock at the collapse of the house that Peckham's, our Lion Viper, was in. I assume it fell during the Zunisha attack with all the rumblings and shakings. But Luffy goes in to check to see if Peckham's is okay. But lo and behold, he's in a shell. He's okay. He's all right. No worries. And Luffy's like, huh? A turtle? And then Peckham's comes up with his head popping out of his chest area and goes, good grief. A guy can't even get some peaceful bed rest. Growl. And
this
Luffy.
is a new voice, Brian. I like it.
Growl. And this is, I guess, Luffy's first realization that Peckham's had a Devil's Fruit power. And specifically, he's a turtle viper now instead of a lion viper. And Peckham's, much like with Sogeking, says, oh, there's no semblance of my actual name now.
Oh, yeah, that was a Sogeking joke. I forgot about that.
And then and then Peckham's finally confirms something we've known for a while, is that I've got the powers of the turtle fruit, and my shell is as hard as diamonds.
I love the detail that Luffy just needs to know what Peckham's is so he can call him the right kind of viper.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's missed the point completely.
He does that quite frequently. And then Luffy continues with, I guess, what he wanted to say initially is Chopper said he'd be responsible for healing you, so he's got a satchel ready to take Peckham's away. And then Peckham's goes, I see. No reaction to the diamonds remark, huh? Growl. And thanks for the medical care. I am even more in debt to you.
Let's see if I can continue this, Brian.
I just want to say I love the fact that they show the knapsack here, which makes a reappearance later.
Yes. Yeah. By later, you mean right now.
Oh, by the way, I couldn't help but just keep thinking that, oh no, Cat Viper's cool bathhouse is destroyed the entire time I was reading those 2 pages.
Yeah. Yeah, those I'm sure they could rebuild those, but the whole this part of Zou was just the architecture was really cool and everything we saw was really cool. So it is a shame to see it go for the moment, but we could always just go back a few chapters and re-experience it.
It also explains why Cat Viper and maybe his entire posse will be going on the search. They don't really have a home right now.
Good point. So let's see if I could keep this up. So Luffy, instead of carrying him in any sort of dignified way, lifts him onto his back using the satchel and starts running toward Big Mom's place, essentially. We're off to Big Mom's. Wait a hot second. I'm nearly in critical condition here. I can't believe this. All of you guys to owe my life. It had to be to you. Growl. I'm going to just add that in. I didn't get to do a growl, so there you go. Anyway, we go toward the Guardians' dwellings, so further in, I guess, here. And Pedro has to make his usual super dramatic entrance.
It's like teleporting almost.
It's a
like
cool ass panel, but yeah.
It feels like he's just popping in like super fast.
That is what. Well, he's jumping from a branch.
He leaps from a branch.
That's what we see the branch. So
he's a jaguar. It's what he does.
He's gonna be so sad when he has no high points to leap from.
He'll find them. Bryan.
It's all ocean.
You think he's just gonna be hanging out on the mast of the Sunny the whole time?
Yes. Definitely. Luffy has his spot. Yeah. No, not the top. He'll be on the mast. Like
Pedro can be our lookout.
The boom. He'll be on the boom. So Cat Viper says, Pedro. And Pedro, looking exceptionally badass in this panel, exclaims that Sanji was the country's savior, and while we were here, he was abducted in our home. So I know that, it's a small team, but aside from Peckham's, there's not a single mink and on this rescue crew, and I thought it would be a grave stain upon our honor if none of us go. And Cat Viper's like, oh, you're saying you want to go along? And Pedro says, yes. And then Shishilian says, no cutting in line, Pedro, as he takes out his sword and prepares to duel, I assume, exclaiming that the Dog Store Musketeers intend to fulfill that duty. And Pedro arguing, saying, this is the last thing we need, a noisy fusspot like you. And Pedro arguing back, Shishilian arguing back that he is not noisy, although he is clearly a fusspot. He is the fusspot. Dude.
So Wanda argues for her case to go, saying that she's been with the group the longest. Tristan says that she also wishes to go to serve as Dr. Chopper's assistant, and BB and Roddy both want to go because they fought against Luffy. And the giant sheep that Nami was sleeping on finally gets a name in Pastor Yomo, and his excuse is, Nami loves using my tummy as a bed. So they say, well, what good will that do?
What good won't it do? God.
Yeah. And all of the canine minks are all want to come as well, so they can keep chewing on Baron Corpse, aka Brook. So Pedro yells at everybody, saying, "Oh, now you're just making requests. Stay out of this, canines."
They are hungry for that bone.
Yep, they sure want that bone.
I'm going to write that down, but I'm not happy about it.
Don't be happy about it. Continue to be not happy.
You can buy them a Brooks Boner mouse pad.
Let's not talk about that anymore. But I'm glad you're with me on the Brooks Boner bit. So Cat Viper understands, but he reassures everybody to leave this to Pedro because Pedro's the only one capable of keeping Peckham's in check. They've got some sort of history, it seems. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Usopp is explaining a few things. That tool there, he says, uses pop green growth and an augmented surface thanks to Frankie's help. It's the tool of the century, and of course, in proper Nami fashion when it comes to these type of things, she interrupts or doesn't really interrupt, she just isn't listening and says, oh, I see, squeeze this.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, and her shake weight has quintupled in size. It seems. Wow, geez.
Call her Son Goku.
Yeah, you can if you want. Yeah, she's got her very own Nyoibo. So it has increased to the size of, I guess whenever Goku uses Nyoibo, like very, 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 very tall. And she remarks that it's too long, Usopp. And then he says, because you extended it too far, listen to the explanation. You need to practice with it. This tool can extend and shrink freely with minimal use of force. It's your new Klimatact, or Climate Baton as we're using in the Viz translations. I've implemented all of the Witheria devices that you gave to me. The only thing is, ... It doesn't dispense change for cab fare.
It has great party tricks, but only if you use it correctly.
Yeah.
Sam, what is it actually?
Right, and then we move on to the next page where Usopp is wondering, I don't know what you meant on Sabadi when you said you wanted it to be like a magic wand, but and then Nami is just sort of off already partying with her new tricks and seeming to get the hang of it pretty quickly, saying, "Ooh, it's so easy to hold and swing around. I knew you could do it, Usopp." And Usopp is kind of frustrated that she's already ignoring him and his instructions.
He couldn't even finish his sentence.
Right. And Raizo is really amazed by this, calling it high-level ninjutsu. And Nami just is really, really happy about it. How wonderful. This really is an amalgamation of all of Wetheria's climate science. It's the sorcerer's climate baton that I've always wanted. Thank you, Usopp. And then, Usopp's all, aw shucks, Humi. And then Usopp continues to try to instruct her on how to use it. Now, as for the cost of materials, ... And Nami's using her Mirage Tempo to vanish and become invisible, which is really funny because she's playing so innocent with her little happy face there.
Skimping out on the bill again.
Yeah. It's I don't know. Something about the way Nami's face is drawn there is really funny.
She's whooping away. That's why.
Yeah. So then we move on to the main gate of Zou, where Luffy's party is gathering. So there's 6 of us. Good to have you along, Pedro. It's probably Luffy or Nami saying that. And then we get this really great group shot.
They call him Pedo Pedo?
Pedo, yeah.
Nando's Pero.
Yeah. So we got this really, really great group shot that I like a lot. Got Luffy's like full bag of meat, and then which is already too big for them, but then Peckham's is tied behind that, hanging.
Return of the knapsack.
Yeah. So it's like an even more extreme version of how Luffy was hauling Law around in Dressrosa.
Peckham's doesn't even seem to mind that much.
Well, no, he's
like
going
slightly irritated.
Yeah, he's like, ugh. But he's resigned. He knows he's
that's not what he's ughing about.
Huh?
That's not what he's saying.
Is he?
He's saying it because Pedro's here.
Oh. And then Pedro's, introducing himself, saying, I'm Pedro. I won't get in your way. Brooks just sort of bowing, trying to stay into frame because he's so tall. Luffy and Chopper got their bags, looking all happy. And then you got Nami and Wanda here saying goodbye, being just super gay right now.
Yay.
Wanda's telling her to be, like they're just so gay, man.
We don't get much fan service like this.
Right.
She's a dog, guys.
Nami seems
she may be a dog, but she's all woman.
Yeah. Nami seems to be pretty. It's all good. Wanda's saying, "Be careful, Nami." Nami saying, "Thanks, you too, Wanda." They've really become good friends through this arc.
Well, she's letting her use her top.
Well, that is the exchanging of clothes was a sign of intimacy. Let's not forget.
Nami was wearing that fancy dress before.
Yeah. Nami's also switched into a new costume now.
It's not a costume; it's called clothing. But
a new outfit, a new arc outfit.
I like Chopper's little coat too.
Yeah,
she's also got the 73 on her shirt, which is Nami in the number stuff. It's like Luffy with Gomu is 56 for Luffy because of Gomu Gomu.
Yeah,
nice.
I really like this panel. Like, there's just something that is super memorable about it. Like, it feels like it's one of those. It's gonna be one of those sort of semi-classic images.
Brooke, Luffy, and Chopper all have their heads tilted at the same degree.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Here's Peckham's moaning about Pedro. Why is Pedro coming along? And then
we all have this voice for
we've
Peckham's.
We've all got our own Peckham's voice. And Pedro's just saying, I'm tagging along with the group as someone who's known you guys for years. You got for years. And then Peckham's just like, what's that supposed to mean? Rawr.
Bryan.
Okay, so Zoro chimes in. He's like, "Listen, we know how he is. There's a good chance that pervert that he's perving out and loving the idea of getting married," referring to Sanji. And Usopp just having this realization, he's like, "Oh yeah, that could have totally happened." And
or he's like, Zoro's being unreasonable, but he might be right. I can't deny that.
He's probably totally right.
Yeah.
And then Luffy's like, whatever happens, happens. And then everyone, the Wano clan and many of the Minks and Law and Beppo, has everyone saying their farewells. So long, Sir Luffy. We shall await you in Wano. Take care. And then we get a separate shot, but an equal shot of the remaining Straw Hats with many of the Minks and Kanjiro saying, Frankie going, I'm going to work on some anti-Kaido weapons, which I can't wait to see is the result of that. And if anything happens, just call us. And Zoro says, I'll have the Samurai of Wano follow my lead in no time. Cocky asshole.
Yeah.
Love him.
Look at Usopp's face. Usopp's face when he says
No. It's not Usopp's face here that's surprising. It's that pig's face in the middle there.
There's also Panda Man.
Yeah.
That's
I love that
exactly-
Usopp
Panda Man's
looks
hiding.
like he's saying something, but he's kind of speechless right now.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
Panda Man's on that team apparently. So yeah.
Yeah, he's totally Team Panda Man.
Get a load of Captain Killjoy up here.
Yeah, Jesus. I'm not going to say anything because I'm Law and I'm such a
got-
great character.
I got a big frowny face.
And he's right in front of the guy who loves beer. The mink who loves beer is all like, I'm happy. And then
Yeah.
he's just like,
And I feel like
Law doesn't like beer because he doesn't like bread.
yeah, it's beer's basically blood soda.
Mm.
Like even Beppo is like saying, "Bye, I'm awesome. I'm way better than Law."
Okay, now. Be nice.
Here comes the hate mail.
I will not be nice.
Here comes the hate mail. Please direct all your hate mail at dude exclamation.
Yeah.
Hey,
But
be careful.
Yeah. Well, Kanjuro's actually trying to be helpful. He says, "Hey, shall I assist you getting down the elephant?" while whipping out his giant paintbrush. And someone goes, I guess Luffy goes, "No need." And we see that familiar shot of the Straw Hat's arms reaching around his crewmates. And then this far off panel with just a thump, and they go off Zanisha's backside.
I love Nami. We don't even need to see like her dawning realization. We just know it's coming.
It's down Zunisha's butt. That's where they're going.
She's having this
Yeah.
moment.
I think we
should
all
have
saw
figured.
this coming a mile away.
She's just like,
too.
I should have figured.
Yeah, we all saw this coming a mile away. I think this might be Brooke's first experience with one of Luffy's
Oh, and
jumping
his soul's,
impulses.
soul's falling out of his face, like his eye, like somebody's eyes might pop out.
You can
Yeah,
see
he's
Beckham's
dead.
arms.
Yeah, but that's all you could see because he's facing the other direction.
Yeah, Peckham's has probably the worst part of this because he's seeing it coming.
He's clueless. He's just
You
like,
kind of feel it. You can feel your stomach dropping as they just fall.
Yeah,
Oh, Brooke can't, but
and the only person who seems to like be like, go figure, is Law here. Just like,
well, he's kind of pissed.
no, he's just like that stupid asshole.
Yeah,
Pedro still looks pretty cool.
Although the Straw Hats react similarly as we get onto the final page, Ed.
Yes, Pedro, his face is just.
His exclamation, I mean, his question marks.
He feels betrayed.
His multiple question marks.
He's the only one who needs question marks because the other guys know that they've signed up for the wrong thing.
Nami's face is kind of like, "Please rescue me."
I didn't want to do this. Why am I here?
So Luffy shouts, "See you in Wano," and so I was like, "You bet." And don't let Big Mom spot you. She's an emperor of the sea, as Usopp reminds him. Yeah. So here we go, and everyone's screaming, "Ah!" And so we get some Oda boxes, and so Luffy and his Sanji retrieval team headed for Whole Cake
Wait, you have
Island.
a voice for this, Ed.
Fine, yes, I do. And so Luffy and his Sanji retrieval team headed for Whole Cake Island, and Big Mom, the Emperor whom they'd already picked a fight with, Meanwhile, on the Grand Line, in Alabasta, the Kingdom of Sand. And there's only one thing this could mean. He started at the
sand
ports.
party?
Well, it's going to get everywhere. It's terrible. But we started at the port. Someone's saying, "Hurry, father." And we find out that's Vivi. Vivi is moving very fast today. She's in a very good mood. And can you really blame her? It's been so long since she was last at sea. So she's going somewhere, and I think I know where it is.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, what did you guys think of this chapter? Steven?
Oh, man. What a fun chapter. I think as soon as I finished reading it, my first thought was, yeah, it's like there wasn't any major exposition. There wasn't any like action to it. It was basically just kind of restating and reframing things, but it was basically just like pure One Piece fan service. Like, just all the crew hanging out, like goofing around, having a good time, lots of comic stuff. Lots of interaction between characters that we like, which it's sometimes you don't seem to get enough of it in One Piece. There was just a huge helping of it here, and the reveal with Vivi at the end, I think is just the cherry on the top of the cake, because not only is it's great to see old characters, but yes, it could pretty much only mean that the reverie is also going to be happening in the near future in the story, which we knew it was going to be a big deal at some point, but this would seem to suggest that it's actually quite soon, and that's really exciting.
Dude.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Standard, it's nice to see the Straw Hats interacting and stuff one last time all together before we don't see them for possibly at least another year. I really do like whenever Usopp makes upgrades to Nami's Clean Attack. It seems like this will be the last one for a while. Seeing that she has everything she needs all in one handy package this time, no pun intended. And I actually hope she gets to use it a little more than she has been. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what she's got in store with that thing. Not much else to say other than I'm way happier than I thought I would be to see Vivi. I've been historically known to sort of like be very meh when it comes to Vivi, but after doing the great One Piece read through, now available on OnePiecePodcast.com, you can I've grown to appreciate her a lot more as a character, and I'm looking forward to seeing. I've obviously been looking forward to the Reverie since they mentioned it years and years ago, but now we've got like an inkling as to how soon that is. Also, look at that ship. Like, that is an awesome ship. It's basically like Portable Palace.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Also, just I want to note, since you're talking about it, it's cool. I think we're seeing it from King Cobra's perspective. I assume he's in a wheelchair, because we're kind of looking up at everyone, including Vivi.
See, I assumed it was just because, like, let's mug for the camera type thing.
I think it's from his perspective. I mean,
yeah,
because
last
she's
time
also
we saw
talking
him,
to him. Yeah.
Last time we saw him, he was bedridden, and they made a point of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's being like, "Hurry!" I'm like, "Dude, your father's sick. Lay the fuck off."
Yeah.
So is Pell there, or is that him in the background?
I assume so.
I
might
think
be
that's
Pell.
Pell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although
we get to see Igaram again too.
You could tell that's Pell because he should be dead. Sam, what did you think of this chapter?
Oh man, I thought it was just like such a fun chapter. It's pretty much all driven by just the Straw Hats' interactions with each other in the comedy and whatnot. Which I agree with Steven on a lot of the points where it just feels like this really great just chance to get that sort of lighthearted fun and just sort of indulge in the fact that we just love these characters and we love seeing them interact with each other in new ways. That's really what this chapter is for. And this is basically the last chapter of Zou too, right?
We're going to discuss that at the end of this.
Half the crew is still there. It can't. Okay.
No, we'll talk about this soon.
All right.
Right. So, well, I mean, just what I'm saying is just all these chapters, the last 5 or 6 chapters or so have all been just amazing. And like, it's just been either super interesting information or super interesting developments or just really fun interactions. And I love seeing that Pedro is going to be going with their group, which if we're going by last week's color spread, there's a possibility that Carrot might sneak on board too or something. We haven't even seen her in this chapter at all.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she didn't. She showed no hide nor tail. I figured that she's already down there.
Yeah, she's on the Sunny.
Oh, I also wanted to remark really quick that Pedro reminds me of Sanji a whole lot. What with his one eye covered and the cigarette.
Yeah,
He's so much cooler though.
Yeah, he
much
is.
cooler.
Plus, he's a mink. I mean,
Yeah, and then we saw him in that color spread, and he has blonde hair, so that's even more of a direct kind of correlation.
Yeah, and then the Vivi reveal at the end with the Reverie is just such a perfect cherry on top. Just obviously just super excited to see where that goes. I love seeing different ways that we can sort of grow this family, right? So that's why I'm particularly interested in Pedro and Carrot.
Bryan, what did you think?
I kind of felt like with Steven, where I read this chapter and I was kind of like, oh, that was serviceable, but it is a very fun chapter. I've read this one multiple times. I read most of the chapters at least 2 or 3 times. This is my 6th time reading this chapter. Yeah, it was great. It was great to see Vivi at the end, but it was even better to see Karu at the very end.
I agree. Yeah.
If they all show up at the Reverie, which I think is what we're all theorizing, it's going to be interesting to have Karu, and maybe even if they drag eyelashes around.
Why can't I remember the name of the guard that we can see? It's
Chaka.
Chaka.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a friend. I have a friend named
When the
Chaka.
walls fell.
Wow, a Star Trek Next Generation reference from Ed. I never thought I'd hear it.
I make more Star Trek references and episodes of the show that I've watched.
Yes.
The other thing I want to say about this chapter, Oda and his crew, their art game was on point this chapter. Not a bad drawing in the house.
Right.
I agree. It's a bittersweet kind of ending because and I definitely want to discuss this a little more. This is probably either the last or second to last chapter of the Zou arc. Sorry, Sam.
I got a permanent position on the podcast now. I'm not crying.
Well, you're not hosting the whole thing. I believe Jill will be our winner by default.
The number of hours that I host in just a few months will trump Jill's.
Wow. Okay, this has become a fierce competition.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Come at me, Jill.
What was Jill's number? What was Jill's guessing number?
Her number was chapter 1.
That doesn't make any sense, though. You can't
Have you ever watched Price is Right?
When Zach invokes Price is Right rules, this is what happens.
Yeah.
That shouldn't. I don't know, man.
Well, then who should win? Because no one got the number and did not go over.
Why don't we just rock paper scissors it?
That's not how that works with 29 people. It's not how that works.
Process of elimination. It'll take a while.
You're just upset because she's going to be having all the wrong opinions.
That's no comment.
So we're not judging it until we see Luffy and the crew that he is with sail away. So to address Ed's point. So
why don't you take 3 more chapters?
Yeah, Sam still could potentially win. But we'll judge that. We're not officially judging the contest now. So for those viewers out there who picked 822, that's what this is, right? Don't get too excited, but get somewhat excited.
I would love for a mid-fall flashback to happen now.
Sam is praying this arc is just delayed a little bit.
See,
and then he'll be like, the anime recap was nothing. I didn't mean it. I wanted the whole thing.
See, I based my guess off of, we just came out of Dressrosa, man. And, I forgot how, long a short arc can actually take.
Well, we didn't know if it would be a short arc.
I had a feeling it would be, I had a feeling it would be a breather of an arc, but,
This is the shortest arc of the New World, period. Unless you count, Shabadi, when they returned.
Well, let me go through the cast besides Jill, so we could see how far off everyone was and whether they have any place to complain or not, dude. So we have Sam said 825.
I was worried I was undershooting it at the time.
Jammer said 828. Roger said 830. Joey said 832. Ed said 838. Steven said 840. Steve said 842. Miles said 845. Greg said 847. Aaron said 850. Bryan said 860. Dude said 862. And I said 873. And I'm fine with that. So, dude, you and me were in the outskirts there somewhere. So I know you're upset about it, but there's always next time.
Next time.
Which is soon, which is gonna be we're gonna take predictions probably pretty in the next couple weeks or months.
How soon?
Now we have to at least wait until like a chapter or two, or maybe.
Yeah. We'll probably wait until we're actually on Whole Cake Island.
Who?
Calm yourself. And at that point we'll make our judgment. But right now, Jill did pick chapter 1, so she is winning this. But what I did want to say is it's bittersweet. My original thoughts on the chapter is it's bittersweet because I loved the Zou arc. This was a fantastic arc. Sam,
part of loving it is the fact that it's over already.
That we have to let it go. If you love it, let it free, or jump off its back side. It was a really fun chapter with really fun characters and really cool designs. And I think everything Sam said about the last few chapters could go for the last 20 chapters, where we've had, I think Oda has, after Dressrosa looked like, I'm just going to say, artistically somewhat of a mess at times. I think Zou looked consistently beautiful, consistently Oda, like what we had come to expect up and through Dressrosa, really. So that's really nice to see again. And as I said, really fun furry characters, which I'm sad to see some of them go. I hope some.
They'll be back.
I'm hoping some of them did sneak aboard here because I want more. I can't get enough of my Zou. And yeah, look, the Reverie stuff I could talk about all day. Does anyone here think we're going to get any more of this in the next chapter? I mean, we've already had, remember last week ended with the big cliffhanger with Kid and Apu, and we didn't get any resolution there. Do you think we're going to get any continuation for the Vivi thing here?
I might see where the Cherry Blossom Kingdom, Dalton and the rest, they might be on their way out as well.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Oh, it'd be cool to see the rest of them on their way, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to see Vivi next chapter. But yeah, like, because we've got a lot of different scenes that the story could jump around from place to place on right now, and it's like kind of overwhelming.
Well, we were jumping around ascending, so why not descending, which is happening much faster, but still.
Well, like jumping around like the world and like the different
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Teams of
My other question for you guys, before we get into piece together, is everyone's got transponder snails. How do you think the next arc is going to be structured? Do you think we're gonna, just focus wholly on Luffy and crew, or are we gonna be with the green hats or whatever the hell we're calling the sword hats?
Marimo pirates.
The Marimo pirates. Are we gonna go back and forth between the groups and maybe even Cat Viper and Darkstorm? Yeah, go ahead.
I wonder if he's gonna find a story reason for them to work kind of dependently on another. Like if they're
they have to constantly be checking in with each other. Or...
Yeah. Exactly. Because I was thinking about this, like that did happen a lot with Dressrosa with the different groups, and it was like, okay, yeah, something has to happen for something else to happen for something else to happen, and so they were all dependent on one another to move forward. And if he does have an idea of something to do with that, he could do them simultaneously. I kind of feel like if he doesn't plan on doing that, then they're not. He's going to take them in some kind of order, just because I don't see him switching between completely isolated storylines like that.
And I wonder like how long he wants to sort of save Wano, like because when we actually see Wano the place like good and proper, like that's going to be like a big moment.
It has to be when like Luffy sets foot on that island. for sure.
Probably.
Yeah, I feel.
Although
like that.
we did get hints of Zou before Luffy ever got there.
Very small hints though.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I doubt we're going to see much of Team Cat Viper's search for Marco. I bet Marco will just show up out of nowhere someday.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a cover story with Cat Viper.
Maybe.
Well, I think all four
actually-
teams have to stay in contact with each other. That's
They
how
do.
it's yeah.
Frankie made them transponder snails, which I think
And
is a cool
Jinbei.
thing, by the
Yeah.
way.
And Jinbei's there.
Oh, yeah, and Jinbei needs
And
to show
also
up.
Jinbei's there.
Although
I
Jinbei fits pretty cozy into the Big Mom stuff. So
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
he really
hoping he'll
does.
be there.
Yeah.
I think that when next time we do see Cat Viper and Marco, like there's two ways that we can go about it. He'll show up. They'll both the two of them and crew will show up last minute while the rest of them are in a pinch, or we'll see what's happening with them and Weevil, because I guess Weevil is trying to find Marco as well, and there's probably going to be some contention going on there.
I agree.
I also have a gut feeling that possibly the Big Mom stuff will connect pretty strongly with the Reverie somehow. Like I just because I feel like the Reverie's coming soon, right? So
Let's hope so.
It's days
Like-
to weeks away because
maybe the
setting off.
maybe the Vince Smokes have some stake there or something like that.
Yeah, it could be an angle to connect the storylines.
to the
'Cause
Reverie.
if we're kind of under the assumption that like Big Mom is not going to be like a big final boss type enemy, then the story has to like sort of change directions when they meet her.
Well, also remember the Reverie is probably on Mary Joie.
Yeah.
As
So it'd be-
Sam,
it would-
who called
it'd
it.
be Marie Joie.
Well, with
That's how they say it.
Mary Joie.
Marie Joie.
With this reveal that the VVN company are potentially heading for the Reverie, it made me think that maybe the Reverie's not like a day or a conference. Maybe it's like a week.
Oh yeah, no,
Like,
it's
you go
probably
there
like
and
a
hang
big
out for a
convention.
couple
Yeah,
days. Yeah.
it's like a double San Diego Comic Con
Yeah.
kind of.
So a week in One Piece time is going to be what 300 chapters.
It depends because 1 week was one chapter and one day was 200 or whatever.
Time travels fast when they're moving from place to place usually. So
Yeah,
I
so
know-
like the Straw Hats can go on multiple adventures while the Reverie is still happening.
Steven, what were you gonna say?
Possibly, yeah. I was going to say, I know that Greg has for like years argued that somehow the Straw Hats have to like be directly involved with the Reverie, which I don't think is the case. Like, I think he could easily have the Reverie happening concurrently with while they're going on other adventures.
And the Reverie also has implications for Fishman Island. And Fishman Island sort of being the forgotten arc of the New World. They could shake
There's
things
a
up
reason
there,
for that.
but it's important for the Reverie.
yeah, Fishman Island,
It is,
Vivi, Fujitora is going to have some opinions there.
It's gonna be an interesting Reverie, and it's gonna involve all of the old characters, or a lot of the old.
That's the thing,
characters.
is they have all those surrogates, like all their friends that they've met in previous arcs, like Vivi, who can be, they will be our view into the event. That's what I think.
I mean, you got Vivi, you got Rebecca, you've got whoever was Dalton. You've got the Fishman Island crew.
Maybe Water 7.
Sure,
too.
Hoshi and
yeah.
Neptune.
Yeah,
It's
would
all the
Would
princesses.
Iceberg go to something like that? It
He's
wouldn't
not
be
a king.
crazy.
No, he's not a king.
It wouldn't be crazy. I think. He's important to his sort of local economy.
It's possible. I mean, he's a mayor. He's not a
Right.
king.
Yeah, he's more like a city-state manager than a monarch.
I mean, they may let him come. I don't know. But Wapple,
Yeah.
let's not forget Wapple, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
I haven't
But,
forgotten.
But I definitely feel like all this can coincide with if the final arc of One Piece, while that's going down, people are like arguing for the Straw Hats or against the Straw Hats.
But you know what? We're getting
Elizabello, right?
Elizabello.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Kano Kingdom too.
Yeah.
Um,
Distinctly Team Luffy guys.
yeah.
There's one other very prominent kingdom that you haven't mentioned.
The Sniper Kingdom.
Kamabaka?
That's in
No.
your heart, though, Steven. That's like a metaphor. It's not a.
No, the Goa Kingdom.
Oh,
Oh, right.
yeah. I don't really care.
Are you saying that we're going to see adult Stelly?
Oh,
Probably will.
oh,
No,
definitely.
I'm putting my money on Adult Stelly. I want
Yeah, it's definitely going to be adult Stelly.
Everybody wants that, right?
I think everyone here wants adult Stelly.
I definitely
Everyone
want
wants
Sabo
peace.
to kick him in the face too.
And
I'll be honest, I couldn't give less than a shit, but
I mean, we're really getting into the end game here. I mean, we've been talking about this with the Straw Hats, but the rest of the world is now making that, that tectonic shift. And it's really interesting to see. And I mean, obviously with the Reverie, but also with the Revolutionaries and Blackbeard going on in the background, with the stuff going on with the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates. We're coming to a 4 here, I think. It's pretty clear. So, with that in mind, let's hope we have some enlightening piece together questions to discuss. Ready, guys?
let's hope so.
This is Steve from Los Angeles, who last week called in, was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, who previously lived in New York, but I'm back in Los Angeles, currently at the Staples Center, getting ready for WWE Monday Night Raw. Just want to talk about One Piece, though, before I get back into wrestling. Awesome chapter this week. It was hilarious. It was busting my gut. It was adorable. I like the crew going into Whole Cake Island. I think it's gonna be funnier than Dressrosa. Dressrosa was pretty silly, but I'm glad that we, like, as much as I don't want the crew split up, I like this half of the crew. It's awesome. The art was great. One Piece. It's awesome. Man, it's good shit. Zou was awesome. Can't believe we had a short arc. Crazy, right? Oh my God, there's a ring here. Whoa, I'm up in the nosebleeds. I could see the little mini Titantron. But One Piece, though, it's a great series. Who's your favorite character? Mine's Sanji. He's cool. Wrestling.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, your comments, and your theories. Let's start with emails, and this one's from Eric. Greetings and a fine mahawk to you.
No, we're not Republicans.
Mihawk?
Mahawk.
No, Mohawk.
It's a Simpsons reference.
From Sideshow Bob Roberts.
Oh, right.
What he mentioned it was a Simpsons reference just in case. While listening to your episode "Be Our Guest or Else," and how you mentioned that some of you went back and read the part where Sanji was explaining his time in the North Blue, I too went back to that moment and continued to read along as well, and something particular caught my attention. In volume 25, chapter 228, page 16, Nami reads an excerpt out of Nolan's journal, and it mentions that the year was the Age of Cayenne, 1120, 400 years ago. So my double part, mainly rhetorical question is, first, what do you believe the significance of Cayenne as it relates to the One Piece timeline? Could it be an important event or person back then, or could it be Oda fodder? And second, for the year 1120, I don't think much of it except for the numerical date for the timeline. But now that we know more about the world, something stands out to me. If the Void Century occurred nearly 800 to 900 years ago, with the world government being created after, wouldn't you think that the timeline would start at year 1, since the world government tried to erase the history that predated them? Something happened around 1500 years ago that started the numerical dating system, and it persisted throughout the Void Century into the present time. What do you guys think? These are the kind of questions I like, personally.
First thing about the Cayenne, I just want to make a note. I'm not sure why, because I think that was in the Viz translation. I'm not sure why that they put it that way, because that is just a kanji that means like calendar of the sea or something like that. So it's not like a name or an event or anything like that. I think it's just kind of a descriptive term. So I don't know how much stock to put in that, basically.
Any other people here have thoughts about that question?
That's a pretty good answer right there, Stephen.
Yeah, it's all interesting.
All right, next question comes from Ben, who said, I don't know if you remember, but this time last year he sent us a quiz, and he said his hometown of, I'm not lying, Stevens Point, Wisconsin, is holding
I've been there. It's not an abnormal location.
No, it's a perfectly cromulent location.
Yes.
How is Steven spelled?
incorrectly. Is sorry, Stephen. Is holding the world's largest trivia contest this weekend. So, would you be up for another trivia? You only got one last time. Remember, this email next week may be important.
Sure.
Yeah,
Totally.
we're always up for trivia, and we'll probably fail again. He gave us that was hard last time, right?
If I ever move back to Chicago, I'll have to go up to Stephen's Point for this.
Regardless,
Largest
trivia
quiz.
That is
Yeah.
literally your dream, Ed. I want to
Yeah.
say. Also, Stephen, not only because of the name of the town, but also because of your superior knowledge to the rest of us, you need to be on next week now. I'm sorry you don't have a choice this time.
Oh boy. Okay.
Next question comes from Milo. Now that the Zou arc is done and dusted, I must express my immense disappointment that you did not name a single podcast episode A Dog Called Wanda throughout its run.
Well, guess what? Congratulations. That's now the title of this episode.
Also, general question. Where is the cutoff point in your heads to what qualifies as early One Piece, i.e. which arc is the cutoff for you? Let's go around because I bet you we all have different opinions. Ed, what's the end of early One Piece for you?
Really, it's all of East Blue. That's how
yeah.
That's it?
it's still like Baroque Works would still, I guess, be kind of considered early One Piece, but there's a definite thematic shift, and there's the story really changes when they go to the Grand Line. So that the pace of East Blue and sort of the setting of it is long gone.
Yes,
the feeling of general peacefulness and security that East Blue sort of has, even when pirates are attacking, it's kind of sleepy. The Grand Line is in no way like that.
It's kind of sleepy. Anyone else here have a different opinion?
For me personally, it kind of ends with Skypiea, I think, mostly because that's where the anime switched from standard def to HD.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
Like to me, early One Piece, like standard def One Piece, has a much kind of earthier feel to it than
in the anime, at least. Yeah,
the anime is a lot glossier afterwards.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely the end of Alabasta. Like I agree with what you're saying, Ed, about the East Blue part of One Piece, but for me, that always was literally the beginning of the adventure. And when we shift to Alabasta after Luffy takes down his first warlord, that's when you kind of begin to see the larger world ramifications.
Yeah, that's the first.
Not just like
Volume 25, the one where we see the
they
Elder
introduce
Stars
and they introduced the concept of like weapons in a world government. That's when I was like, oh, it's just not a stupid pirate adventure. There's like world-changing ramifications after that.
And Alabasta is like the first huge arc of One Piece. So that's like the first time where it really kind of digs its heels on the ground and becomes what One Piece is nowadays, I think.
Any other differing opinions?
I'm gonna have to. Well, I'd like to agree with East Blue, except my cutoff is the Grand Line. Like as soon as they break that barrel, that's the end of early One Piece.
Wait, you mean when Luffy gets out of the barrel?
No, when they
when they sail from.
I'm joking.
Jesus.
Yeah,
it's a joke.
That's technically early One Piece, but yes, as soon as they break that barrel, that's the end of early One Piece to me. I always envisioned the end of One Piece being on the Grand Line, and now we're technically still on the Grand Line, but we're in the quote unquote new world, and the story has completely expanded since then. Like they refer to the Grand Line in the beginning of One Piece as like the ship graveyard or the pirates graveyard, and as soon as we get to the Grand Line, like we're on Whiskey Peak, and I'm like, wow, this seems nothing like that. Sure, the weather's all wacky, but
wait, Whiskey Peak is literally a graveyard.
I mean, like a ship graveyard. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
The Grand
I know what you mean.
Nickname was the Pirates Graveyard because pirates go there and just die.
But I'm saying that was a literal graveyard, and that was the first island we went to, and it was a gigantic graveyard.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Zach.
I'm sorry. I think I agree with you, dude. But it's definitely also, I think, for like the bigger scheme of things at the same time, I also agree that Alabasta kind of was like the adolescence maybe for One Piece.
Right, but I wouldn't call it early One Piece because that's when shit started becoming like a bigger picture.
Well, I should say actually, Water 7 is the adolescence. That's clearly the adolescence for One Piece, but it's I think it's a very important point still. Volume 24, that time.
I also classify early One Piece as to when I was like into it as well.
Well, yeah, you
when I had gotten into it.
It could be like, when did you start reading Weekly? And everything before that feels like early One Piece, and certainly that's true. But if that were my case, it would be a lot. Sorry to.
It's also like an art style thing too.
Yeah,
I feel like the art style in East Blue is drastically different from when you go over to the Grand Line. There's a progression, but it's very everything is a lot more rounded in those first couple volumes. You know what I mean? Everybody knows what I mean.
Yeah,
I think.
Next question comes from Liam Tasker. It's the final email, and it's short, so I like that. He was wondering, what are some of your favorite video games?
Oh shit!
Pretty simple there, and also not.
That's easy for me. Earthbound is my favorite game of all time. I also like Mario RPG, Final Fantasy 6 and 7, and Super Mario World, I think, is the best platformer of all time.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with Knuckles.
Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker is my personal favorite game of all time. I'm a huge Metal Gear Solid nut. I love Ace Attorney. I love Pokemon and Portal. Oh, and Resident Evil 4.
Let's see. Mine is probably Psychonauts or
That's a good one.
Jet Grind Radio. I think I have a weird soft spot for games that they may not even be technically good games, or they may be frustrating games, but if they nail a certain atmosphere really, really well, then
like Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah. Like, I didn't like playing Shadow of the Colossus, but I really liked Eco, the game before that.
Those are up there too, the Eco games.
It's in my head more than like actual fun games. Yeah.
Oh, I noticed no one mentioned the greatest game of all time, Chrono Trigger.
I like Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger's brilliant.
Yeah.
No, you guys are all forgetting Outrun for the Sega Master System.
Of course.
Your favorite game, Zach?
I know. Well, as a kid, I didn't explain. Have I explained my terrible upbringing when it came to video games?
You like Halo?
I'm good. I like any video games I'm good at, and there are very few of those. And Uncharted, Halo, and Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, I got really into Uncharted a few months ago.
Uncharted's fun, and it's really cool. I'm not amazing at it, but it's like watching a movie.
I got weirdly good at it. Like I for some reason started beating them all on like the hardest difficulty, which I don't ever do, but that time I did it.
God, you guys are such nerds. Yeah, God, it's like you're doing a One Piece podcast or something.
Yeah,
okay.
I was thinking a little while ago. I was like, man, I remember when there was only one Mario and Zelda. There was no Zelda 2 when I was a kid.
I had Super Mario Land for the Game Boy, my big brick Game Boy, when I was like
I had that game too.
5-6 years old.
Oracle of Seasons was one of my first games.
When I got a Super Nintendo, it broke the next day.
Oh man.
Shit.
And they just never got me a new one. Like, I didn't do anything; it just didn't work.
You poor child.
I was deprived. I was explaining this earlier. I had a Sega Master System growing up, which was a console behind of where I actually grew up. Then I got a PS1 after the PS2 came out, and eventually I got a PS3. Anyway, we have one more piece together. It came in as we were talking, and the question is: do you think Carrot is hiding in Pedro's backpack?
Either that, or she's already on the Sunny. So.
Yeah, they already demonstrate she can leap pretty good.
Well, that's true. I forgot about that completely, even though we said it earlier. Any other thoughts? No? Yes?
In someone's bag was where my mind went when I thought of her being part of the group.
Well, can we see some ears sticking out of there? That would have been the way to do that.
She's very small. She'd probably hide pretty easy.
Yeah.
That would have been funny, though.
Those bags are enormous. All of their bags. We didn't even mention that.
Although there's got to be no room in Luffy's with all that meat.
Yeah,
no.
That's what's funny about the.
He would not spare
panel.
some.
What if she went in there and just started eating it, and he looks at it and is like, "What are you doing? What have you done?"
Rabbits eat meat?
I
You wouldn't
guess
let her
you're
on the
right.
ship then.
Oh, I thought these were just brown carrots. That's just
Wait,
cannibalistic.
do we know if minks eat meat or not? Like the fishmen?
No, they don't.
Fish?
We've talked about it. They don't eat mammalian meat. They eat reptilian and fish, I think, is what we determined.
Yeah, they did mention they feed off the fish that Zunisha would like pour on its back when it would wash itself.
And that's why they have to deal with Reptody Jones. It's a
Classic.
Yeah, it's a
Series, man. It's got so much information.
It's an instant classic. Okay.
Information.
All right, let's go to Reddit, and we're gonna skip over some some bonus asking of the same question multiple times here to go straight to Super Doobs, who asks, with the way that Devil Fruit abilities have been shown to lose their effect when the user is incapacitated, does that mean that all the buildings that Doflamingo turned into string are stone again? Also, if Ayn from Film Z had used her ability on Nami again, essentially making it like she were never born, when she is defeated, would Nami have popped out of a magic sky womb?
What?
So I want Dew to answer the question about the awakened fruit.
Okay. In all seriousness, I have no fucking idea. Actually, see, that's a loophole, an awakening loophole. Like
you're right.
Like in the anime, I watched those anime episodes, and he uses it way more. He turns like every single fucking building into string. Like, I suppose that it would turn back to rubble, I guess, if it was, if he's knocked out unconscious. But, God, that's such a.
Did I ever tell you guys what I originally thought his awakening was gonna eventually do to people?
What?
Since like he clearly manipulates people with string, I'm like, what if he can turn people into string?
I think that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be nuts.
I think that would make me even madder, honestly. I'm actually just really disappointed with the Doflamingo fight at all. I'm just in general because I don't think he used the controlling people thing enough. Like,
yeah.
I feel like that's such a sadistic thing to do, and he didn't use it nearly enough. It was just like, I'm going to create hockey strings to try and stab you. And I don't know.
No, you're right. I agree.
Yeah.
That was the part that really made you hate Doflamingo. And I used it in the flashbacks, but in the present time, he wasn't. I mean, no one who
was crazy was that he used it to effect when they had Bellamy tied up. As a guard against Luffy. I'm like, why don't you do that with everybody in Dressrosa, and then he cannot attack. He can't attack you.
Yeah, he totally could have done that, and he didn't.
That's what happens when you have an omniscient kind of villain. You can't always do everything, or else it becomes a little too boring and easy.
I think the idea is that he probably has a limit to people of certain strength levels.
Oh yeah, I mean that's how Luffy got out of it.
Right?
Yeah, Luffy broke out.
He's like, not this shit again, and then beat him up. Anyway, what's next?
Next question from Prince of Assassins asks, as longtime One Piece fans, I'm sure you have built up much trust in Oda's storytelling abilities over the years. Having said that, what were some of the times that you were really concerned about how a certain element would change the story for the worse? He has an example during Enies Lobby. Some people were really worried about Fukuro's power levels being a big concept in the story.
Yeah.
And he says, since Oda is such a good storyteller, these fears turned out to be unfounded. But what in general, what are times where you thought, oh, I don't know if Oda's making the right decision here?
In that same time period, people said the exact same thing about the gears, Luffy's Gear 2 and Gear 3. It was like, oh, this is Dragon Ball, it's Super Saiyan.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think actually the Fukuro thing is a really great example to bring up. I had that same sentiment during that time, but I think there was one thing. It was sort of towards the end of Marineford when Eva used the hormone thing that would like take shreds off Luffy's life.
Right.
And that also happened in Impel Down, and apparently it happens every time he uses Gear Second. And like I think at that point by Marineford, it felt to me that like, oh man, Oda's doing something here that I'm not really digging. It's sort of not really raising the stakes, but kind of is, but not really. Just Luffy's doing all these dangerous things that's taking years off of his life, but like, what does that have to do with anything? Is this going to be retconned at some point? Like, I don't know. it seemed very very ham-fisted to me.
Well, I've never been a gigantic fan of hockey in the implications of the armament and the observation type. It's good that he actually seeded that ahead of time in subtle ways, like with Mantra. But as far as like, it definitely changes the scope of the series in the way like battles can play out. Which I always preferred that they came up with clever solutions to defeat certain powers. But now it's just like, oh, if you're strong enough with hockey, you can still do it.
Yeah,
and the armament hockey was foreshadowed as well with the 6 forms, the CP9 techniques.
Oh yeah, definitely, I agree.
Yeah,
Finger pistol.
It still makes me wonder that.
Sorry, it's such a stupid thing.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been finger gun, honestly.
Yeah.
Finger bang bang.
Finger bang. Why Ace wasn't able to use hockey is beyond me.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I mean, I kind of understood why he didn't use it toward the end. I don't think he was in good shape, like physical shape. He was in Impel Down, getting beaten.
I guess that's true. He needs some sort of stamina. I mean,
at the
end of the Dressrosa fight was proof of that. Like, it'll take me nine more minutes until my hockey comes back.
Yeah, he was out of stamina. He had enough to be like, hey, I'm gonna blast my way around.
Sea Prism Stones suppress some of your stamina in general. It's not just nullifying your fruit.
Yeah.
But I will say that, like, even with my reservations on that, Oda still does incredible things with those concepts. So I'm not like complaining about it.
Also, Ace had to die. I mean, it's just that's how that worked.
Sure. Well, I mean, back to the question at hand, though.
Yeah.
I feel like that we sort of got away from that.
I think a good specific, like, recent example would be the introduction of the Colosseum, where it was like, oh, now it's going to be a tournament thing in the middle of this already like rapidly expanding arc, and in a way that did turn out to be kind of an accurate conception, because it did slow things down a lot. I mean, it was still fun. That's the thing. It's like I wouldn't consider that to be a total disaster, but that was definitely a moment where it was like, oh boy, are you really going to do this now? Like, really?
I think Fishman Island had a lot of those problems, and to say that Fishman Island and Dressrosa both, I think Oda, I can't believe I'm saying this sentence, worked a little harder to make to kind of craft the overall story into a tighter time frame. I think both would have been fantastic arcs. I think the Colosseum thing specifically, and the fact that it's mirrored at the end is really cool, but you stop giving a shit about it when you get to the point where it happens, because it's just been going on for so long, and all these tertiary and quaternary things are happening in the background, from Senor Pink to Mr. Anime and all those things you don't want to think about, and you don't care about. And it kind of just it hurt what could have been a good premise. So it's kind of the opposite of what this person is asking. I thought, the Colosseum's a really cool premise, and he just kind of doesn't follow through in a good way with it. I think that kind of stuff happens in Fishman Island as well.
I think the inclusion of Weevil is something recent that I'm still sort of up in the air about. Yeah, just because I have no idea what he's planning on doing with this. But now that Cat Viper's going to see Marco, or trying to find Marco, I'm still I don't know.
One Piece finally has its own Bobbity and Boo, so
that's true.
We've got that.
Yeah, when I was catching up with the series, I remember it was towards the beginning of Thriller Bark that I was sort of being worried that like Ennis Lobby was the peak. Like I wasn't super in love with Thriller Bark when I first started it, and it kind of made me put the series to the side for a bit. But when I came back and I powered through it, and that end of that arc is just awesome. So it was kind of where I decided I wanted to just sort of put my faith in Oda as much as possible. But then other times would be stuff like when Luffy admitted his doubt after the Paramount War, right? When he's crying. Yeah. Like that was I was super unsure about where that was going, if I was going to be okay with that. And then I think the time skip in general kind of had some mixed feelings from me. Like I wasn't sure if I liked the new designs. I wasn't sure if all the characters felt like the characters
had to grow on you.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if the characters still felt like the characters that they used to be during that initial Sabati arc. Return to Sabati arc. But for the most part, I really put my faith in Oda and just assume that even if I don't love something right out the gate, that it's going to pay off in the big picture.
Why don't we move on to the next question?
All right, we got to offer him more. Has a pretty good question actually. We know that Oda has given the different Straw Hats real world countries that they're from. So what if it was the American states? Which state would each Straw Hat be from?
I like this question.
Hmm.
He has offered me more. His name did not lie.
Chopper would be from my home state, Minnesota, because it's like pseudo Canada.
Wouldn't it be Alaska?
Or Alaska. Yeah, Alaska probably.
Chopper's.
Yeah.
No. I think Chopper. I'm giving him. No, I'm just. Okay, fine, Alaska.
I'll say that Frankie's from New York.
I say Nami is from Florida.
I was going to say Brooke is from Florida because he's really old.
The Nami is from California because of the citrus farming.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Nami's Californian.
Nami's California girl.
Very materialistic.
Robin.
Washington.
Sure.
State?
It's a district.
Yeah,
I mean,
Washington State.
Washington State.
Seattle. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what's the most learned state.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Yeah.
No, but
Boston.
Washington's the most like literate capital. Literate state.
Oh, really?
I don't know,
Yeah.
but Boston has all those universities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see Robin as a Massachusetts girl.
But also like the origin of like Starbucks coffee and all that stuff.
When has she ever drank coffee? I don't. This is your argument, Bryan?
Yes.
Stop trying to take things from the East Coast.
Robin's cool. Goddamn it, we need some West Coasters.
You got Nami.
Well, hold on. What about Sanji?
Louisiana.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, that's
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good one.
What about Zorro?
Zoro, Texas.
Yeah, Zoro's definitely Texas. 100%.
It's got to be bigger than everybody.
He does.
We
Have you
saw
said
some
Luffy?
Kansas.
Oh yeah, Luffy.
Luffy's definitely Midwestern.
No, but he's got
Michigan maybe, or
No,
that's
Luffy's got to
Kentucky.
be.
Like a bumpkin. He's sort of a bumpkin.
We live in
He's from
some
Missouri.
But
region.
but he explores. So I'd say something in Appalachia.
Like Virginia,
No, like
West Virginia.
Virginia or Tennessee or
I don't see Tennessee.
or
If-
Kentucky.
I think Brooke would be Tennessee, if anybody.
No, Brooke. I
Brooke's
agree.
Florida,
Brooke's
'cause he's
Florida. I agree with Brooke and
Well,
Florida.
I was thinking Nashville because of the music, but
Yeah,
Oh.
Nashville makes sense for Brooke.
Actually, you're right. That does
You
make
need
sense.
we got Usopp still.
And you know what? Old musicians do play in Nashville.
yeah.
I
So
think Usopp's from like Kansas, maybe
no,
Oklahoma.
Usopp.
I don't know. You know, Luffy could be from New Jersey because he does hail from basically a trash heap.
Well
Sorry,
said,
Greg.
Greg will never be listening to this podcast again.
No, it's okay. That means Luffy and Greg are from the same place. That's fine.
It's true.
Usopp could be like Idaho or something.
I like how we're just throwing out shitty states for Usopp.
No.
So let's actually think about this.
No, he would be from the country too, but like an energetic.
No. He's from Nevada because he's all the biggest lies are told in Las Vegas.
Oh my god, no, that is a stupid reason. No,
That is a
Usopp.
great reason.
No, Usopp is like he's crafty. He's able to make things. Where do they make things? Michigan. He's a Michigan.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Although maybe Michigan from a couple decades ago, but yeah.
Hey, these are all stereotypes.
These are all based on stereotypes. Frankie is the living New York stereotype. I
Yeah,
think.
Frankie's totally New
He's
York.
loud. He's in your face. He's not wearing pants.
He's all American.
Only in New York.
He's everyone I've ever seen on the subway that you avoid contact with.
He's a
eye
fucking
contact with.
skyscraper himself.
That's true. Hey, he's made of steel. I mean,
Chopper's Vermont, right? We've discussed this. Chopper's Vermont.
Chopper.
Alaska.
Oh, Alaska.
Alaska,
Yeah, I
yeah.
keep forgetting Alaska's a fucking state. Well, a buddy of mine, no offense to anybody in Alaska, but a buddy of mine moved to Fairbanks, and the first thing that he did when he got there was, you know what? This isn't.
No.
I'm not even. No.
Yeah, okay.
Not gonna get
So
into
for the purpose of this crew, I'll put Jinbei on there. He's Hawaiian.
Of course.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
sure,
love
yeah.
it.
No, that's
Yeah.
wait. Who are we missing? I feel like we're
Vivi.
missing.
I think
No,
If you're putting Jinbei on there already, then I think Vivi.
Arizona.
Vivi is Arizona, or
Please
New
stop
Mexico,
complaining.
or please stop the meth dealing. The New
That
Mexico.
happens in fiction.
There's meth in real life.
There's meth everywhere. It's not just concentrated in New Mexico.
I know, but for the sake
Meth
of this
everywhere.
joke I'm making, it fits.
And all the
well.
other places have heroin.
New Mexico's a beautiful place I've never been to.
Did we settle on Luffy?
No, I don't know.
Maryland. There we go. But
Not there.
No.
Not in Maryland.
No. It's
No, we said
it's
New
Missouri
Jersey.
because they have the Gateway Arch.
Didn't we already say New Jersey?
Right, New Jersey, right.
New Jersey, but he's trying to travel to California or Washington.
And-
He's like trying to get to the other side.
And let's say Usopp's from Kansas. That's
I don't like that. He's Michigan. Michigan, we say.
No, Kansas.
Actually, like Michigan.
I think Michigan's appropriate.
Michigan's fine, yeah.
Any other One Piece
Industrious.
character states that you want to do while we're here? Because I'm
think
having
that's
too
it.
much
We're
fun
all-
with this. Okay.
I think that's all the Straw Hats
Okay, fine.
and their peers.
Please ask that question again with different characters.
And Kandra is from Japan.
Once we make it a state,
or I guess DC because of all the cherry blossoms.
or Japantown in San Francisco. Anyway, what's
Our
next?
next comment is from Kura Venice, who would like to compliment us on the podcast getting a good restart with Greg and the girls, and also for releasing older episodes on SoundCloud. I guess some people might be blaming us for releasing older episodes on SoundCloud, but sure, we'll put them out there for you guys. His question is, could the explosion from the Tamatibako box be blamed on the Vinsmoke family? That would make Big Mom an ally and make the Vinsmokes the main antagonists.
How would
Possible.
it blamed on them.
It's possible. The problem is, I don't think, like, if Luffy found out that happened, he would just say, "Oh, that was me."
But he
or
didn't
something
put
like
the
that.
Yeah,
explosives in.
he doesn't
Yeah, but
know
he
about
sent
the
them in
box.
the box.
Or he does he know about the box?
He does. That was the treasure box in Fishman Island. He said you can have the treasure.
Yeah, but he didn't know that the Fishman Island.
Yeah, they
royalty
told
put-
them.
He doesn't
they
know
told-
about the
Yeah,
bomb.
okay, that was what I was wondering if they
He
told
does
him
not
or
know about the bomb.
Yeah.
Some people were told about the bomb.
He wouldn't be like, "Oh yeah,
None of
that
the
was
crew.
that was
Yeah, I
my
think-
bomb."
Yeah, I think like Nami and Usopp know, but I don't know if Luffy was listening.
Well, Nami, as long as Nami knows, she's going. So
No, I think it was just the ministers who were talking to Neptune. It's like, we put some explosives in there. I hope she
Yeah,
doesn't open
and
it.
and they were even suggesting, oh, maybe it's just a dud because the explosives are so old. I don't think they told any of the Straw Hats.
No, I don't think the Straw Hats know. Yeah. The Vinsmokes could be blamed, though, because they are a crime family. If the mafia's at your wedding and something explodes, who are you going to blame? The guy who brought the box or the mafia?
Luca
This-
Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
This on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Oh, I can't wait for those jokes.
I just went back and looked at the chapter. Nami was there for that conversation.
I'm excited for the mafia jokes in this next arc. What's next?
Samuel Joda says he points out that the conversation about Sanji possibly being okay with getting married, and then Luffy commenting on that, specifically saying like, "Oh, okay, yeah, whatever happens." Points out in chapter 814, after reading Sanji's letter, Luffy said something like, "Maybe we'll get a new member on the crew," or something like that. So if you seriously interpret those lines as foreshadowing, does that mean that that will be a new member is Sanji's wife, I guess?
Luffy is not as picky as who joins the crew as Oda might be.
hmm
True.
I agree.
Very
I
true.
remember he did ask a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and upon further inspection, those were thought bubbles. So no, Nami does not actually know about the bomb. I was wrong.
See,
Yep.
I was right. Yeah. What's next?
Next, El Soja says the revelation that Oden was part of Roger's crew explains the message that Roger left at Skypiea, even though he didn't know the ancient language. However, it also seems a little contradictory to me. In chapter 507, Rayleigh stated that they knew what was written in the poneglyphs because Roger could hear the voice of all things. At least that was his interpretation of that speech. But now with the revelation of Odin and his abilities, it seems that what Rayleigh had said has little meaning, as Oden could read all the poneglyphs that Roger's crew would eventually encounter. Maybe I'm not analyzing things deep enough, and I want your opinion on this.
There's no way not to analyze One Piece deep enough.
Do we know that Oden went to Skypiea with them?
We're assuming so because of that.
Well, they also remember Dogstorm and Cat Viper specifically mentioned going to a Sky Island, and they were with Oden.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
And I think the biggest clue to that is the fact that on the poneglyph in Skypiea, someone had wrote into the stone, which is supposed to be impossible.
And that's something that Oden would have specifically knew how to do.
Right.
I think without a doubt it was Oden, but you are also correct. It does contradict what Rayleigh said. Rayleigh could have just said, "Oh, it was his friend."
A little bit, but remember, Luffy can hear voices, and so can Momosuke.
But
No.
Momosuke?
Momonosuke?
Syllable there.
Momosuke.
Just call him
Mama
Cats Up from now
I'll
on.
call him Mom.
No,
Momosuke.
call him what I call him. Big Mama Suke.
Momosuke.
Big Mama's house.
Big Mama Suke's house.
But yeah, Luffy can hear the things that Momo can hear, and he can also hear the voice of all things. Maybe it's the same thing with Roger and Odin, where he could hear it but couldn't translate or understand.
But that's like you coming up to me and saying, "Zach, how do you make podcasts?" And it's like me saying, "I have 3 meals a day." I mean, it's true. Actually, that's not true. I have 2 meals a day, but it would be true. But it has nothing to do with the reason why I'm, how I make a podcast.
But it sounds like how Luffy would interpret things. It's like, how'd you beat that guy? I had a big meal.
No, okay. Well, what I mean is they're like 2 separate statements. I mean, I guess it's just maybe Oda didn't realize at that point he wanted to have this character. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, back when Rayleigh was talking about the voice of all things, when that was like kind of newish, like our main reference point for something like that was Zoro in Alabasta, but we haven't really seen much of Zoro's observation since.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily mean like they don't necessarily have to be mutually exclusive. Like he could also understand, because assuming the voice of all things is like being able to hear things from the past or something like that, or somehow glean information from the past.
Yeah, I just thought maybe like the language of the Sea Kings or Neptunians and the Zonisha, maybe they are speaking that ancient language.
Maybe Roger will be able to go into the future too and say something to Luffy. Is that too Star Warsy?
That'd very Greggy.
Dr. Roger.
What's next?
Okay. Burash has a quick question. While watching the latest anime episode, it hit me. How the hell did Kaido get on a sky island by himself? Although we don't know much about his abilities, is it far-fetched to say he can fly? Yeah, well, actually, this is something we've mentioned several times. The going theory, which is very strongly supported by evidence right now, is that he has a dragon fruit.
Yeah,
specifically the type of fruit that Momonosuke has, like an Asian dragon.
Rock the dragon.
that anime episode definitely hints at a dragon. Like the footsteps of his introduction, his little tiny tease, and that was like, that thing sounds massive.
And we know Momonosuke can fly, even if it's against his own will.
And Kinemon has a thing about dragons, and so does Momonosuke, and they don't like them. And they're linked with Kaido. It's just it's becoming pretty clear. What's next?
Yeah, maybe Momonosuke's aversion to flying is connected to Kaido.
Look, it's pronounced Momonosuke, or Momosuke, or Mamasuke, or Suke Mama.
No,
right, I apologize.
Next is from Smiley Jr., who says, do you think that Usopp can use the Klimatact better than Nami since he's the one who makes them? Also, Sanji doesn't seem like the need to be rescued type. I know what's going to happen, but would you prefer a Sanji rescue arc or a short Sanji solo arc?
You can know how to make something and not know how to use it. Yeah,
I mean, it's like, especially the more advanced that they get, the more that it depends on using weather powers to unlock, its functionality. Like that's what Nami knows better than anyone. So, I mean, obviously she's gonna pick it up and be like, okay, now I know exactly what I can do with this, as opposed to Usopp, who's just doing what she tells him to, pretty much.
Right. He even said, "I don't really know what you meant by make it like a magic wand."
Right. And he's basically like, it's up to you to do that. That's basically what he said.
Yeah. What was the second question?
Should it be a Sanji rescue arc or a Sanji breaks himself out solo?
Uh, we're not going to get a Sanji solo arc because we depend on Luffy for readers.
Yes.
So
I think a combination of the two. I don't think it's going to be like, let's go rescue Ace, or let's go rescue Robin, or let's go oh, we've done this a lot, haven't we? I think it's going to be different. And I don't think we're going to...
You don't think there's going to be like Sanji on the altar going, I want to live single.
I love that. I love that. I don't think, though, that's what's going to happen.
All right. Next is from Black Northwind, who asks, judging from next week's episode, we are going to see how Sabo grew up in the Revolutionary Army. My question is, did someone from the storyboard group go to Oda and ask him how he would tell Sabo's story in the manga so that they could do that in the anime? You guys will have to take this.
Doubtful.
Well, I don't know. Generally for big stuff, they get Oda's approval to do things like that.
Maybe they write the thing first and then get his approval.
But they've made huge mistakes in the past, and they don't usually ask him.
Well,
I'm sure Oda just sort of writes out a bullet point list of do's and don'ts.
Yeah, right. The one big mistake that I can think of is that Zoro says that he can cut steel in like a filler episode or whatever, and
the entire piece arc.
Well, look, I honestly don't think that Oda had the story planned out, to the extent.
Chopper, it was only up to Chopper, someone who could speak to animals. That was the dragon thing, yes, but the Chopper thing was.
Yeah, and I'm sure Oda thinks of like worst case scenario if some anime only content doesn't fit into canon later on. That's not the worst thing in the world.
Who gives a shit?
I mean, it's not like the anime memorializes its own original content. Like they don't go back, flashback to all the great memories of
except
the
for
G8.
G8. It's the only time they do that. Yeah.
Or when Aokiji shows up, not on Long Ring Long Land. But that aside,
and Ace's departure.
Oh, right,
in Alabasta.
Yeah. That's right. Well, all that aside, something like this, something so ancillary as Sabo's training, that's not something that we're going to see in the main story anyway. I can't think of a reason that Oda would ever do that, like want to show that, unless he's going to repeat Marineford again, except with Sabo instead of Ace, which would be ridiculous at this point.
Yeah.
Next question.
J.M. Morante says, I got into One Piece partially because of your podcast. I had read there was a One Piece specific podcast and thought that if a series is sufficiently interesting enough to warrant a weekly podcast, it must be pretty okay. So I gave it a shot. I have 35 questions, but beware. Do you think that
He's not lying.
Do you think that Dr. Hairlook has any connection to Wano? Also, do you think that with the Vivi reveal at the end of the most recent chapter, we are getting a small post-Zou arc building up into the Reverie, or are we going to jump straight into the Whole Cake Island story, and which would you prefer?
Yes and yes.
Yeah, I definitely want to get on with things, but I do think that we're going to be getting some post-arc shenanigans from, characters we haven't seen in a while. Mm-hmm. The fact that Vivi has showed up leads me to believe that we're going to see other characters, maybe, who are also going to the Reverie. It's been a while since we saw those folks at Fishman Island, so, maybe.
I like the idea of Dr. Hairlook having some connection, there being some little Easter egg.
Well, didn't he mention?
To him?
I think he mentioned Wano or like a country far away.
A country with Sakura.
Yeah. The problem for that for me is like, okay, how is he going to explain the whole closed country thing? Like, did he sneak inside?
I always assumed. Yeah, he's a thief, but I always assumed Hairlook was probably like a fake doctor on a pirate ship. I just assume he has some connection to Gold Roger as well.
Do we know how long Wano has been closed off?
I mean, presumably for a long time, because just culturally they seem very insular.
Longer than Hero Luke's was alive.
Yeah.
I was wondering
Definitely,
if maybe it was just like for as long as Kaido's been in charge, but maybe not.
Well, just because you're insulated doesn't mean people from the outside don't manage to get in once in a while.
Yeah.
It's you could try your hardest, but sometimes
Yes.
you get sick. Yeah.
Specifically pirates and thieves.
Yeah. I definitely think there's a connection there. Yeah. And I would also prefer some build up. Though I don't know if we're getting a whole arc there, but what's next?
Neon asks, do you think it is possible that Jack found Zou so easily because he made a Viver card of Zunisha? Possibly. I don't know.
I'm super curious.
It'd be
how
very
that's
hard to get
happening.
that fingernail.
Also, is Dogstorm like enough? Dogstorm without a leg enough to kind of stop any more of Kaido's forces from coming? Like that's something that worries me there. And then Momonosuke's just there. He's not.
I mean, I guess he's still better than having no one. Just like the elderly hanging out on Zou.
Oh no,
by
I mean,
themselves.
yeah. I mean it. I think, and we didn't get to discuss this. I mean, my crazy crackpot theory is that Momonosuke is going to learn how to direct Zunisha to Zou, and show up in the middle of the battle with a giant elephant.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that,
Amazing.
but yeah. What's next?
Swordmaster is referring here to some of Oda's author comments, since he mentioned enjoying Oden before the soup, before introducing him as Momonosuke's father. Do you think sundubu, which he mentioned this week, which is like a Korean type of stew, could be him leading into a name for a future character, maybe his mother, or maybe even the shogun? Well, given that it's Korean, I don't think so.
I wonder if there's going to be a Korean country, because we have a Chinese and a Japanese.
Oh.
Yeah, who knows?
I do really want to see Kanokuni, Kano country. I don't know if we ever will, but that's a country I actually want to visit.
Yeah, my gut feeling says there's going to be a lot of people reading way too deeply into his
author comments now.
His author comments.
Likely.
He's playing futsal. What does this mean? Or soccer?
He's watched Star Wars.
Yeah. So our next question from Darren's: with the split up that's happening, do you think someone in the Zou group will teach Usopp how to use his hockey?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think by the time we see that group, they're going to have some new stuff to show us. By then, Zoro will have been acclimated to Wano and, the samurai. Frank even said he's going to make some weapons. And when Usopp is gone for a while, you usually see a trick or two up his sleeve. And Robin, of course, will gain knowledge and not much else, probably, sadly.
Okay. Our next question from Hockey Scooch points out that in recent chapters, Luffy did not realize that he was being watched by Pedro because he's always up in the trees. And since Pedro is going with Luffy to Whole Cake Island, do you think he has a sneaking ability, and what role might that play? And how did it get past Luffy's observation hockey? Maybe he is Mink and Lion has something to do with it. I mean, I think the thing with Luffy is just you could argue that that's just because Luffy only pays attention to what he feels like, pretty much. But I really do like the idea of Pedro kind of being a sneaky agent for them with that team. That would be really cool.
Sneaky agent man.
Yeah.
He's a sneaky
No,
Jaguar
he's
man.
he's actually Absalom in disguise.
Oh god.
Oh, boo, boo.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really do the like disguise or alias thing, but I think in the sense that he can kind of sneak around unnoticed, I think he is a good kind of surrogate for Sanji in that sense. Like he can do the sneaky stuff that the rest of them may not be particularly acclimated towards. All right, next is My Pants Are on Fire.
I'm sorry about that.
This guy's a liar.
It sounds unpleasant.
Yeah, well, take it with a grain of salt. With the indication of the reverie hopefully soonish to happen, how do you think the reader will experience it? Will there be a world event that actually disturbs the reverie, like news that Blackbeard is moving against Dragon, or Dragon making some sort of move against the world government?
I mean, one possibility is that the reverie happens after Luffy takes down two of the emperors, the four emperors. I mean, I guess it's reasonable to think it would take that long for VV to get to Marie-Joie. Sorry, I'm pronouncing it obtusely. Or it could just be something like this guy mentioned. It could just be something, who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways he could take it.
Or nothing will happen, and they'll just react to everything that has happened.
Yep, definitely nothing. Nothing's gonna happen. Sorry, guys.
Well, the last time at the reverie, they were talking a lot about
Dragon.
The dragon, the threats on the horizon. So they're going to be talking about Luffy. That's what they're going to talk about.
Yeah, Luffy is the threat on the horizon. It's pretty. Yeah. If it wasn't clear before, Luffy is now definitely in the running for something.
Yeah. The only question is if they're more preoccupied with Luffy or Blackbeard.
Or Dragon. Dragon's always in the background for these guys.
Or Dragon.
And then there's also the matter of what's going on in Baltico right now.
And the fact that Doflamingo fell, and so now all of these insurgent elements in the New World are doing exceptionally well. So you got that.
You think we see Baltico or the reverie first?
It's tough. That's really tough.
Let me find a coin.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows?
Exactly. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Ed, for reminding me about all the unpredictability in life. What's next?
And winding down here, Skambala says, after Jack got his ass handed to him for a second time, I expect we won't see him until the Wano arc. Oda mentioned that there were 3 calamities in Kaido's crew, who I expect the crew to fight in Wano. So since Luffy is already booked to fight Kaido, and Zoro is probably fighting Jack, who is going to fight the other 2 calamities. The Straw Hats only have a monster trio, and if Sanji fights one, who will fight the last one? It would be cool if it were a samurai or mink protecting their homeland.
Quick question. They don't Oda doesn't strictly indicate Jack's his second in command, right?
No.
Nope.
So Zoro could potentially fight one of the other 2.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, Treble was second in command to Doflamingo, and Zoro fought Pika.
I'm done with Jack.
Sure.
He's knocked out. I don't want any more
Zoro
Jack.
is going to a land of swordsmen where the Shogun is in the pocket of Kaido. So I feel like
he might fight the Shogun.
Yeah, he's going to fight the Shogun.
Whoever the Shogun's hired sword is. Yeah,
I think that would be a perfect battle for Zoro, because then he gets the glamour that would come with like Zoark kind of being his arc. Not the Zoark.
Taking down the greatest swordsman.
The Wano arc being taking down potentially the greatest swordsman on Wano, the Shogun, but not taking down the guy. What?
You shouldn't assume that they're the same person. Usually, the ruler isn't the strongest fighter.
True, but this is a shonen.
I didn't assume it. I was just saying that would be pretty cool.
It would be.
Yeah. I'm not predicting it. We're too early on. I can't. What's next?
Last on Reddit is from Gentleman Bastard, who offers the suggestion that if Dragon had a mouse pad, would it be called Dragon's Balls? Is that why he is the most wanted man in the world? Because everyone wants his 7 Dragon's Balls so they can summon Shenlong and make a wish.
All right, get him out of here. Just get that question out of here.
All right, we'll skip to the serious question at the end. Were you guys surprised that Oda is setting up the reverie so early?
Yes, I was.
I don't know how surprised I am, but I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
Are you also ready though?
Yes.
All right.
I'm very ready.
I'm just excited. So
I'm usually not surprised and ready.
No, it's excited.
Those are kind of exclusive.
Yeah, you got to be excited.
Sorry.
All right, that's it for Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we go to some
Peace the tweet? Yeah.
It's like he knew what I was thinking right there.
It's like we've done this 400 times.
I'm gonna go cry. What's
All right. The first question comes from Martin Linvid, who asks, which characters from One Piece would be perfect to be voiced by Penn and Teller? Well, Penn, really.
What a question.
Oh man,
That's pretty good. I'm trying to think of that.
Do we have like an oddball pair?
Penn Jillette, the
Yeah.
90s voice of Comedy Central.
Yeah.
It's tough because you gotta find both a duo and a duo where one of them could just be silent.
I feel like we've seen that. That's the thing that's like bugging me.
There hasn't been a true mute in One Piece, though. I thought that was
No,
going to
what
be
about,
Pika, but he talks.
What about fucking
I was thinking
Garp
Peckham.
Garp and Bogart?
Bogart, yeah.
No, I've got the answer here. It's a little twist on it, but I think it's accurate because one of them is mute 90% of the time, and that's Ivankov and Inazuma.
Okay.
Sure.
Not bad.
Yeah,
I
that
like,
works.
yeah, I like that.
There's a twist on it, but it's that.
I might went to Peckham's and Tamago.
I
I
thought
I don't know which one would be Penn.
No, they're both
No.
chatty.
Yeah.
And they're chatty in very different ways. It's not.
Hmm.
Who does magic?
Nami. Nami's voiced by Penn Jillette. There it is.
I'd watch that. I'd watch that.
Wow.
What's the next question?
Next one comes from some guy named Mo.
Oh, hi,
When
Mo.
When and how did Luffy learn Gear second and third? I remember in the anime he just did it one day without any explanation. Well, he specifically references thinking it up after losing so badly to Aokiji. So he just sort of had a creative spark, I guess is what we're supposed to
Well,
infer.
that,
Yeah.
and then he saw the 6 powers, and it's based on the 6 powers. So he observed it and was able to.
So-
do it,
Well,
yeah.
And
Yeah,
didn't he
well,
also
the-
mention the train, too? That was another source of inspiration, or did I make that up?
You
Yeah, I
might have
think
made
so.
Remember
that up.
Okay.
But so it's probably, well, it's not canon, but in movie 7, he goes Gear second completely by accident, which is, I guess, if it were canon, it would be the first time that he used Gear second. It's splitting hairs, and it's not a very good movie, but
I would point out too that just those little bits of evidence that you guys just mentioned about Gear Second, that's like 90% more background than any other like special attacks in the series get. Like, you know, it's a comic book with heroes. They just bust them out like in the
Well, like-
moment.
Like
Oh,
Gear
that's
4
true.
makes sense because he had plenty of time to try it out, and then the timeline for Gear second, Gear third, like he would have had to have just like thought about it and then tried it out on the spot. And then
Yeah, well,
sure.
on the ship, too.
Yeah.
Like
On the
if he's
ship or
practicing
on the
Gear 3
train.
on the ship.
or on the train. I mean, like he clearly never practiced it. Like he must have. That must have been like his first times doing it.
I mean, with Luffy in at least the first half of the series, he's strong enough the whole time. It's him thinking up shit on the spot a lot of the time. It's like
Water Luffy.
yeah, like that, and a lot of the time it works. Sometimes it doesn't, and it's trial or error with Luffy, and he just goes in and he tries. That's kind of his motto. So
And he also he also follows up and says that now that I think about it, the show didn't explain Zoro's 3-head 6-arm mode either.
well, that made no sense.
It's sort of like it's just a projection of his hockey. It seems
It's
like.
weird that it came up in Strong World again, but it's never come up again in the manga.
That was such a cool freaking scene, though. I love that's like one of my favorite action scenes.
No,
in
He
One
does
Piece.
do it in Shabadi. He helps take down that pacifista.
Does he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right.
I think
Yeah.
that Ashura is one of those things that Zoro does where his aura is like a projection of a demon, sort of like that Onigiri attack that he does in an ice lobby, and
The one with the bowl?
that's, you mean Rashomon?
Is that the other one?
No,
Rashomon,
Rashomon's the gate.
yeah, that's the gate. No, I'm talking about when he's up against not Baskerville, but Baskerville's like cronies. He has this. It's like, I don't know, some sort of weird demon onigiri attack. I don't remember the name of it.
Oh, yeah, it has a projection of like a demon woman.
Something like that. Yeah, and I think Ashura is very similar to that. It's more of a projection than anything else.
Yeah, I was always disappointed by that because the second Zoro pulled out
Kaku-
Ashimon, I thought like from Dragon Ball when Goku and Ten Shinhan fight,
Mhm.
and Goku, instead of growing multiple arms, he just moves his arms really fast.
Yeah.
I thought that's what Zoro was doing. He's just shaking his head really fast.
That'd been cool.
Ed.
All right, the next one comes from Cabbage Muffin, who wants to know what happened with Capone between getting sucked into that planet and then appearing 2 years later.
I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out.
And does it have any relation to chapters 8, 12, and 13? Yeah, that's a very good question. I don't really have any clue.
There's no answer.
Well, yeah, I mean, knowing that he's with Big Mom, that would suggest that whatever that was, it's somehow aligned with Big Mom.
What's next, Ed?
Okay, next question comes from A. Peterson 43. What if the Kid Alliance beats Shanks, and the way Luffy demonstrates that his crew has surpassed Shanks is by beating Kid?
Transitive property.
Yeah, I also don't think that that's going to happen. I think Kid's plans have indefinitely been put on hold.
That's for sure, yeah. Mm-hmm. And if not on hold, on detour. And maybe this actually will present the opportunity for Kid and perhaps Hawkins to align themselves with Law and Luffy.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting if that's what happens.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Where's your evidence, Ed?
Because
Ed, when someone is listening to this in the year 2017 and knows the end, 2017 is next year, in the year 2023, and they're like, "Oh, I know the answer to this question," they'll be able to
listen to this.
How do you know? There are people listening to our episodes from 2009 today in 2016. Why can't someone in 2023 listen to an episode in 2016?
They're all going to be on SoundCloud.
No, they're going to be on Sound Future thing.
Oh, that's got a nice ring to it. I'm sure that'll be the name of it.
Yeah, great work, Zach.
Thank you, guys. I'm patenting it right now. That's my patent noise. That's what I do when I patent.
All right. Next question. Awesome Randy 2 asks, if Luffy somehow did get seen by Big Mama, what are your theories on what will happen? I guess this is just sort of what happens at the wedding. Because Luffy has pretty explicitly said he's basically just going to crash it.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way they go in and sneak out without any kind of confrontation.
Usopp was just being a scaredy cat. When he said that this week about don't make sure try and sneak in and out. It's not going to happen. That's not how Luffy does things.
Nope.
Kaizoku Ruffy asks, why are the Three Musketeers not called the Three Minksketeers?
That's really your fault there, Steven.
Yeah, completely Steven's fault.
Dropping the ball again, Steven.
Wow.
There's still time. There's a volume. There's a volume coming.
Right.
Why weren't they mice and called Mouseketeers? I'm sorry.
Well, Oda, you dropped the ball on that one. Way to go.
Right. Munchie the Panda needs to ask his wrestling question again next week because Steve is at a wrestling show right now. But he does have another question.
Priorities.
Nami getting a new weapon hopefully means new action for her. What new techniques would you like to see her use?
That's up to Oda, I think. And I'm always very interested to see what he's got up his sleeve as far as Nami goes, particularly because he uses real world science in her moves for the most part, which I think is very cool.
Nami just needs a cool fight. She has not had that in a long ass time.
Not a long time, no.
And with all this real world global warming, there's so many new things to choose from.
Her ultimate attack is going to be called climate change.
Dude.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yes. Wow, way to just bring together things there. Love it. What's next?
Titan11 asks, silly question, how come Chopper couldn't or didn't communicate with Zunisha?
Probably because Zunisha speaks the ancient language versus modern
That's what I said.
That's the most. I mean, that's the simplest answer. Probably the one.
Mm-hmm.
Which maybe Momonosuke is special in that he is one of the people who can speak the old tongue. That's what the telekinesis is or something. Wouldn't
it have been crazy if Chopper, gets down to repair? It's like, how's it going, Zunisha? And they just start having a regular conversation.
Well, my asshole itches.
Can you get that for me?
No.
Well, he could turn into a giant, Q-tip looking thing. Anyway.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
SGamer82 has a few things he noticed in this week's chapter. The most interesting one being that Momonosuke and Brariette are in the same farewell pose as Team Luffy leaves, and it's cute.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Katrina Magic Otters asks, "Do you think Brooke's gonna pull a rabbit out of his hat?" She means
By
carrot.
that, she means carrot.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Hey, you can't appease the tweet. He appeased the tweet, or she appeased the tweet. It's very clearly a she. It's just that there's a he on the. Okay.
That's the bounty, isn't it? That's the brawny guy with the straw hat.
Yeah, I just realized that. I think Carrot's going to be on board. It is suspicious we did not see her the entire time. We've mentioned this a little bit though. So,
Afro Lobster is it weird that I'm really excited by Frankie being able to make his own snails? He wants to see some with cannons.
No, I agree. I was really excited by that reveal too.
I'm more excited about his name being Afro Lobster.
T-Van48 asks, "I thought about it, and I really want to see a fight between Zou and San Juan Wolf. What are your thoughts?"
Yes.
I think San Juan would win, but
That'd be awesome.
no one wouldn't.
I've seen those videos of the matadors getting taken out by bulls. I think it would look a lot like that. Just, tusk up the butt.
Do you know who I think is going to fight San Juan Wolf?
Sunny.
No, Wadatsumi.
I mean, he's still hanging out with Jinbei, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Watatsumi is much smaller than San Juan.
But we do have a lot of like really large people who are allies, or large monsters who are allies. Like we got Chirahoshi Sea Kings, we got Zou, we got.
Is Oris Jr. still alive?
Yeah, I think he's just missing a leg.
Once we get to Elbaf, I think that's where things get interesting when it comes to size. Which matters, guys. I mean, that's okay. What's next?
Okay. Our very own Chow asks, "If Law is the Zoro and Momo is the Usopp in the Alliance, who will be the counterparts of the other Straw Hats?"
Mm.
I don't get it.
Momo is the. I don't know if Momo is the Usopp.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Law is kind of the Zoro. I mean, that's definitely true. But... Oh, guys, we're leaving Law for a while too. I forgot about that.
What a shame!
Just wait, Law will be back.
Guys, send your complaints about Law hating to @dude! on Twitter. Again.
Like next arc, something fun's gonna happen, and Law's gonna show up and is like, "Sorry guys, I can't let this occur."
No. Right now, I feel like that girl in that scene from Schindler's List. Goodbye, Law. Goodbye, Law.
I do not remember that scene.
It adds a certain gravitas to the situation, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh.
I can't decide to be offended because I don't remember that scene. What's next?
All right. Last one is from Shaggy Tweets, who says, "Yay, Zoro is going to Wano, but it looks like it's going to be a while for some Zoro action." Yeah, unfortunately. So
yeah, Zoro was pretty badass in Dressrosa. Actually, it was. In fact, I think he was more badass than Luffy in Dressrosa.
Yeah, and we're not gonna have us Zoro fanboys aren't gonna be, "Where's Zoro? How come Zoro? What happened to Zoro? I want to see Zoro."
Now, is it a coincidence that Luffy's two closest rivals in the character popularity poll have been left behind?
I am cool with this.
Yeah, we got good 100 chapters with them.
I mean, and also all the characters who wield swords are going straight to Wano. Kinemon, Zoro,
I mean,
and
of course, yeah.
Makes sense.
That makes
should have thought of that before.
So we will have no sword fights in
Brooke.
in this coming up.
Brooke.
Oh,
but he's not really a
I
sword
always
fan.
forget that. And, I was listening to last week's episode and we were talking, maybe that's Brook's sword in the color spread. Of course it's Brook's sword. He has a sword. So it makes sense that he would have a sword in the color spread. And it just glossed over me because it's a cane 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that's it for Piece the Tweet. Before we leave this Piece Together segment, since we are leaving Zou, the elephant we knew so well, we want to, as we said at the top of the arc, we want to remind people that they should donate to important causes for elephants. We're going to put a few of those links in our description. SaveTheElephants.org is the one I find most conveniently and gets very good reviews as well. So, please donate or spread awareness for all those good causes when it comes to elephants. We're all big fans of them here. And I think we could round off the podcast.
Okay.
This has been episode 414 of the One Piece podcast for April 11th, 2016. Thank you guys. Great episode this week. It seems like we might be ending another arc, which is really kind of crazy. But we'll talk about that more at the end. First, let's see how to contact everyone. Bryan, how could people find you?
You can look at my work on Rick and Morty, seasons 1 and 2, and Teen Titans Go. And the best way to contact me is through Dark King Zoro on Twitter, all one word. And you can look at very old artwork I need to update on Banendorf on DeviantArt.
Sam, where could people find you?
Usually you can find me on Twitter pretty frequently at Lucky Chainsaw. I recommend following me and most of the writing staff since we interact quite a lot, so you can see us joking around with each other there. You can also find me on OnePiecePodcast.com. I write editorials every once in a while. And you can find me on AnimeNewsNetwork.com doing the weekly episode reviews for now One Piece, My Hero Academia, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable.
And now starring in the One Piece anime recap segment for as much as possible. So thank you for doing that, Sam.
Thank you for letting me enjoy the anime again.
I'm going to do my best.
The thing is,
it's been a long time since I haven't been taking notes on it while watching it.
Sam, you already weren't enjoying the anime, so it doesn't hurt. It's an additional. Why not?
I think you were talking to me there, Zach.
What?
You're talking to me. You said Sam.
I enjoyed.
No, I said
anime.
Sam. No, what I'm saying is because Sam has already been writing about it.
Right.
So that's
it's very convenient.
Yes. Okay.
What's less convenient is when it's hard to get people to get on the anime recap with me. So, cast members, fellow writers, please let me know when you're free to do the anime recap each week.
Also, Sam, it's very coincidental. Those are the 3 series you're doing because those are the 3 series I will be watching.
I'm Mr. Shonen Jump over on Anime News Network.
Steven,
I don't review Naruto though.
Stephen Paul, how could we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Translatosaurus. And I don't know, not a whole lot of news from my end recently, last month or so. Just looking forward to giving you guys more good One Piece.
Thank you. We appreciate the good One Piece. And dude, where could people find you?
Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Vine, all them. At dude ! All one word. And also check out 20 Minutes of Bullshit. That, of course, is the podcast of me and Steve Yurko, who has been away for 2 weeks, but hopefully we'll record an episode tomorrow and get it out for you guys.
And Ed, how could the good people out there contact us?
Well, Zach, you are Zach_Logan on Twitter. I'm Edward E. Fastizio. The podcast is at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. One Piece Podcast is our Skype name. OnePiecePodcast.tumblr.com for news updates and funny pictures curated by Jill. Reddit.com/r/OnePiecePodcast. Leave us some piece together there. You can subscribe on SoundCloud. You can subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, or call us on our phone number. Zach?
That phone number is 347-497-MACHI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime. With your questions, your comments, your theories, growl, all of that, and more. So, good episode this week, you guys. Next week, we will be returning with a manga and an anime recap. That's going to be for 8/23. And anime 320,
737.
737. I'm getting very dyslexic. And those will both be a lot of fun. The Zou contest winners will be determined once I am positive as to where we are going to be delineating, and we will say so on the air. Do not worry. I am not positive that this was the last chapter, so there's still there's a slimmer of hope for you, Sam. There's a little hope for you left.
Not a lot of hope.
Not a lot. Very tiny. I can't emphasize how small it is. It's much smaller than Zou, I'll say that much. So, for the One Piece Podcast, everyone, my name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Go.
Go.
Wow. All right, let's do a test recording. My name is Zach, and I am testing my testicles. Ed, how are your testicles doing?
1, 2, 3 testicle. I'm doing pretty good.
That's too many testicles, Ed. Okay, Stephen, how are your testicles doing?
Mine are fine. Apparently Ed's is, he's just got more to work with, so I guess he has an evolutionary advantage on everyone else.
Exceptionally fertile. Yes, I am.
Dude, how are your testicles?
They're fine for the time being. Unlike Ed, I don't have tristicles.
I don't believe that's how testicles are named. Sam, how are your testicles?
I sat on them, and now it's uncomfortable.
Oh!
That does sound quite discomforting. And Bryan, finally, how are your testicles today?
I have 0.3 testicles. 0.3 testicles.
Now, how did that happen? Is there a story behind the amount of testicles that you have?
Nope.